During freshman military training, I was drenched in sweat, but my roommate Bianca deliberately used up all the water in the bathroom. She gave me a fake apology to my face. Behind my back, she told others I was some country bumpkin who didn't deserve to shower. The next day, I had to endure everyone's disgust while reeking of sweat. Later, she spread rumors that I had poor hygiene and even framed me for contracting an STD, which led to the entire school shaming me. The school also expelled me on the grounds of having an immoral private life. I left the school in disgrace, only to be struck in the head with a rock by a student with manic disorder, dying on the spot. Given a second chance at life, I found myself back on the day Bianca forbade me from taking a shower. I jolted awake and looked down to see myself wearing camouflage fatigues. It suddenly hit me. I had been reborn, transported back to the first night of military training in my past life. My roommate Bianca looked down on me for being from the countryside. She deliberately stayed in the bathroom until the water was cut off, just to keep me from showering. She emerged from the bathroom covered in steam, playfully clasping her hands together to apologize to me. "Sorry, Mia, I didn't realize you hadn't showered yet." Yet in the middle of the night, she secretly mocked me with our other roommate Yvonne. A country bumpkin like her looks filthy and smelly anyway. Let's not let her dirty our bathroom, we'll force her to use the public showers instead. I heard everything, but since it was the start of the semester, I didn't want to stir up conflict, so I just kept it to myself. The next day, I showed up for military training reeking of sour sweat, and everyone gave me disgusted looks. Bianca used this to spread rumors that I was an unhygienic, slovenly mess. While I was out of the dorm, she dumped trash and empty takeout boxes on my bed, took photos, and posted them on the campus forum to shame me. Outraged commenters crowned me the trash queen. With that thought, I grabbed my toiletry basket, stood up, and marched over to kick the bathroom door open. Who's there? Bianca, who had been focused on her phone in the bathroom, was startled. She looked up, saw it was me, and demanded angrily, "You just kicked the door open while someone's showering. How can you country folks be so barbaric?" What if I'd been exposed at this point? She crossed her arms defensively as if bracing for an assault, and warned me, "You're not interested in my body, are you? I'm telling you, if you dare try anything, I'll report you to the counselor for sexual harassment. Do you city folks bathe with your clothes on?" I gave her fully clad pajamas a once-over and asked coldly. Bianca froze, glanced down at the clothes she'd already put on, looked embarrassed, and could only scramble for an excuse. "I was just lucky to have gotten dressed right before you kicked the door in, or you would have gotten your way." I gave her a once-over from head to toe and let out a contemptuous snort. "What do you have that's even worth looking at?" My attitude made Bianca blush with embarrassment, and just as she was about to retort, I went in, grabbed her by the arm, and threw her out. "Hurry up and get out when you're done. It's my turn to shower." Before Bianca could even steady herself, I slammed the door shut with a bang. She jumped at the sound and started cursing up a storm outside. I just treated her like a rabbit stray, turned up the music, and blissfully enjoyed my shower. When I stepped out, Bianca launched into a fresh round of passive-aggressive remarks. "Mia, I heard people in rural areas like yours use well water or bathe in lakes. You probably haven't been able to get properly clean all these years, have you?" Yvonne chimed in from the side. "Exactly. You must be covered in bacteria. The bathroom is such a private space. What if you infect the rest of us? From now on, just use the public showers. We're all sharing this dorm, so you should be considerate of everyone else," Bianca commanded disdainfully while admiring her flashy nails. I scoffed, wondering where they got the sense of superiority to engage in regional discrimination. Besides, even though my family lives in the countryside, we reside in a spacious mansion. 10 years ago, our urban property was demolished, and we received $10 million in compensation. Our whole family loved the idea of returning to a pastoral life, so we moved back to our hometown and built a villa. The couple used their relocation compensation to start a business in the village, supporting rural revitalization efforts, which have now proven highly effective. I'm not one to show off, and my back-to-school outfits were always simple. I never expected that would become Bianca's reason to attack me. Hearing Bianca insult rural people like that made my blood boil, and I immediately fired back at her. "Seriously, you're a college student, shouldn't you know better? Instead of scrolling mindlessly on that cheap phone of yours, why not look things up? Hot water heaters have been common in rural areas for ages. You're acting like some clueless hick, and honestly, you're an embarrassment to hicks everywhere. And who are you to tell me where I can shower? The dorm is a shared space, and everyone has the right to use the bathroom. I've recorded what you just said, and if you keep hogging the bathroom like this, I'll report you for dormitory bullying and spreading rumors." They finally shut up, though grudgingly. When they saw I had evidence recorded, I rolled my eyes and was about to head back to my bunk when my phone suddenly rang. It was my dad. The thought of my previous life, how my secrecy toward my parents left them weeping over my lifeless body. their hearts broken for the rest of their days, fills me with a deep, aching sorrow. I quickly answered the call and made my way to the balcony, talking as I walked. Dad, can you believe someone in our dorm actually said rural areas don't have water heaters? They really haven't seen much of the world. When Bianca heard me venting again, her expression twisted even more fiercely. Our other roommate, Yvonne, quickly stepped in to calm her down. Don't be mad, Bianca. Maybe this country bumpkin is just putting on a show to hide her shortcomings. Let's wait and see her true colors come out. Yvonne had already received plenty of favors from Bianca at the start of the semester, so she was in cahoots with her from the get-go. Listening to their conversation from the balcony, I smirked to myself. I was curious to see what kind of trouble they could stir up. The next morning, we had to get up bright and early for military training. I was sitting at my desk doing my skincare routine when Bianca came over. Unlike her arrogant demeanor from last night, she spoke to me with a warm and friendly tone. Mia, it's so sunny today. You really need to protect your skin. Here, use this sunscreen. It's a high-end brand and works really well. I glanced at the sunscreen in her hand and scoffed inwardly. Wasn't this the shady domestic product that got slammed online recently? Quite a few people ended up with skin reactions after using it. Did Bianca really think I live under a rock? I took one look, turned away, and refused with complete indifference. No thanks, I brought my own sunscreen. With that, I pulled out a high-end sunscreen from my makeup bag and started applying it. Bianca's eyes instantly widened. Is that Yves Saint Laurent? She then shook her head and let out a mocking laugh. Mia, you really are a vain country girl, can't afford the real thing so you use fakes, and you don't even care about ruining your skin. I glanced at the sunscreen in her hand and said with a smirk, seems to me you're hardly in any position to worry about my skin, too. Bianca guiltily pulled back the hand holding the sunscreen, seeing her embarrassment. Yvonne immediately jumped to her defense. Mia, have you no shame? Bianca kindly gave you sunscreen and warned you about using counterfeit products. Not only did you show no appreciation, but you also made sarcastic remarks. You country folks really have no manners. I rolled my eyes. You city people have such great manners, giving your roommate cheap, low-quality sunscreen. Seeing that I was completely unreceptive, Bianca immediately snatched the sunscreen from my hand and shoved hers into it. Mia, just listen to me for once. I'm only saying this for your own good. You won't look pretty with a sunburned, damaged face. I tossed the sunscreen into the trash and stood up, waving at them. Stop labeling people as city folks or country bumpkins. There are only two kinds of people in this world, decent human beings and trash in human skin. So keep your trash to yourselves. Anything you've touched is tainted. You can have that sunscreen back. Ignoring the venomous glares from the two behind me, I walked straight out of the dorm room. It's just a high-end sunscreen, but in my past life, Bianca stole plenty of my things. I kept a low profile at the start of the semester, but gradually began using the brands I was accustomed to. When she saw them, she acted dismissive at first, but secretly had them authenticated. Once she confirmed they were genuine, she started using them without permission. Last time, I had no proof. This time, I'm going all out, making a big show of it to catch her in the act. Military training in this scorching heat was brutal. After standing all morning, everyone was starving. The moment dismissal was called, we all charged toward the cafeteria like a pack of hungry wolves. Without even realizing it, I quickened my pace. After finally getting my food, I was just about to sit down. Bianca and Yvonne came over, acting as friendly as if nothing had happened that morning. Mia, let's eat together as roommates. With that, Bianca sat down beside me, and a pungent mix of cheap perfume and sweat hit my nostrils. I was instantly nauseated and lost most of my appetite, but not wanting to make a scene in public, I just frowned and endured it. Yet Bianca and Yvonne were completely oblivious to my discomfort, chatting and laughing loudly while eating next to me, utterly grating. I quickly finished my meal, stood up, grabbed my tray, and made a swift exit. Yvonne called out to me, "Hey, Mia, why are you eating so fast? You didn't wait for us. I want to head back and rest soon." "All right then, see you at the dorm." With that, she waved at me, and Bianca spoke up. "Bye, Mia, don't forget your coat." She picked up the coat I'd left on the chair and handed it to me. I took it and left without a word. How rude. Not even a thank you, Bianca was muttering behind me. Afternoon military training began shortly after the lunch break ended, but we hadn't been training long before Bianca called out to the instructor, "Sir, Mia's hiding food." The drill instructor shot her a glance and asked, "I've always had a keen sense of smell since I was a kid, so I caught the scent." I pursed my lips. "Then how come you can't smell how awful your own perfume is, and you still insist on standing next to me to torture me?" The drill instructor's sharp gaze swept over to me as he issued a stern command. "Mia, take out whatever's in your pocket." I reached in and felt something greasy, disgusted. I immediately pulled it out. It was a greasy fried dough cake. The room instantly erupted in a chorus of disgust and revulsion. Oh my god, how gross, putting something that oily straight into your pocket. 3. Ugh, it's already hot enough, and now I feel like throwing up. The thought of my pockets being all greasy makes my skin crawl, but I still have to hold back my disgust and defend myself. Reporting, drill instructor. I never put this thing in my pocket. Then how did it end up in your pocket? The drill instructor made it clear, bringing any food to military training is strictly forbidden. Mia, this is a violation of the rules. Bianca was adding fuel to the fire, but I ignored her and addressed the instructor directly. I swear I didn't hide that pancake. Instructor, if you don't believe me, we can check the cafeteria surveillance footage. When I mentioned checking the cameras, Bianca froze, and Yvonne, standing beside her, tugged at her hand and spoke sarcastically. Mia, you dare to act but not own up to it, dragging the instructor into checking the cameras. Really, when the truth comes out, it'll only backfire on you. Hearing Yvonne's words, the instructor also felt that checking the surveillance footage was making a mountain out of a molehill, so he made a swift decision. Mia, the evidence clearly shows you brought in outside food, since it's your first offense. I'll go easy on you, just run 10 laps around the field for 2 days as a warning. Instructor, military discipline is about fairness and strictness. You're our leader, the one we trust most. I believe you wouldn't wrong any of us, so I hope you'll review the footage with me to clear my name. That one remark put the instructor in a tight spot. The instructor was genuinely exasperated. All this fuss over a simple fried dough pastry, even dragging his character into it. But as a soldier sworn to protect the nation and its people, he couldn't just wrongfully accuse someone, especially a student like me, so he reluctantly agreed. All right, we'll do it your way, let's check the surveillance footage. Seeing that the instructor and I were actually going to review the footage, Bianca turned pale, pinched Yvonne hard, and muttered under her breath, "This is all your terrible idea, what do we do now?" Yvonne was also terrified. I never expected that country bumpkin to think of checking the security footage. I thought she was just some clueless village girl, who knew she'd be so assertive. Seeing that Yvonne was just complaining without offering any real solutions, Bianca stomped on her foot in frustration and hurriedly called out to the instructor, "Sir, I remember now, when Mia and I were eating in the cafeteria. I put it in her pocket. I thought it was really tasty and wanted her to have it back in the dorm, but she left in such a hurry that I didn't get a chance to tell her before she was gone. Then I just forgot. It's my bad memory." I wrongly accused Mia. As soon as the words were spoken, everyone fell silent. It was clear what was going on, just some internal drama within their dorm. But such a lame excuse was truly exasperating, and everyone shot Bianca looks of utter disdain. The coach was furious. How dare someone try to manipulate him? It was a direct challenge to his authority as an instructor. Enraged, he yelled at Bianca, "Bianca, for framing your classmate and deceiving your instructor, you're punished with 20 laps around the field every day until the end of training, and I want a 5,000 word self-criticism essay from you by tomorrow." Bianca's face instantly turned pale. She wanted to plead her case, but the instructor, showing no doubt or hesitation, motioned for her to step forward. Clenching her teeth, she pointed at Yvonne, who was standing nearby. "Instructor, she told me not to tell Mia." Yvonne's face changed color, panicking as she glanced at Bianca and then the instructor, frantically shaking her head in denial. As an adult, the instructor could easily see through their little scheme and spoke directly. "You'll do the same as her, 20 laps every day, and write a 5,000 word self-criticism." Yvonne swallowed her anger, shooting me a glare with a dark expression before following Bianca for the run. I smirked coldly. What goes around comes around. I'd known all along that Bianca had slipped something into my pocket when she handed me my jacket. I just played dumb. If you want to destroy someone, first let them grow arrogant. This was just the first price she paid for looking down on others so casually. After this lesson, both Bianca and Yvonne toned it down, mostly because their legs were too sore to stir up trouble, leaving them with nothing but weak, passive-aggressive jabs at me each day. Time flies, and military training is coming to an end in the blink of an eye. The school organized a military training gala. Despite her leg pain, Bianca actually spent time in her dorm practicing suggestive TikTok dances and volunteered to perform at the gala. Her provocative, male gaze-oriented moves caught the attention of many guys, and quite a few asked for her contact info on the confession wall, but wanting to play hard to get, she had Yvonne act as the go-between to handle it. "I'm Bianca's stunning roommate, want my WeChat, just send me 10 yuan and it's yours." Bianca saw Yvonne's reply and confronted her angrily. "Yvonne, are you jealous of me? Is that why you're keeping guys from adding me? Who'd want to contact us if you charge them?" Yvonne quickly showed her a guy's payment record. "Bianca, I'm just helping you filter out the guys. The ones who are willing to spend money are definitely going to be generous with you. Bianca's eyes lit up, and she agreed with Yvonne. That makes sense. But let's split the money. You get 70 to 30. Of course, it is your WeChat after all. Yvonne agreed verbally, but rolled her eyes the moment she turned away, lying in bed listening to the conversation between these two fake friends. I couldn't help but find it amusing. I was almost looking forward to seeing them turn on each other. After that, Bianca was never in the dorm at night. I occasionally saw her dating different guys around campus, and she'd come back and rate them afterward. Her rating system was obviously based on how much money they spent, but since they were all students without much cash, Bianca grew increasingly dissatisfied, complaining that they were all cheap guys trying to get something for nothing. Until one day, she asked to borrow a dress from me. Mia, can I borrow that Chanel dress from your closet? I was puzzled. Why should I lend it to you? Bianca looked proud. Lennon asked me out. He's the famous rich kid at school. Of course I need to dress well for our date. Seems she already had the sunscreen tested, which is why she's coming to borrow from me now. 3. No way. I refused outright. Who in their right mind would lend something to their enemy? Mia, don't be so ungrateful. If you lend it to me, once I become Lennon's wife, I'll make sure you're well rewarded, I scoffed. Bianca must have read too many romance novels. With Lennon's womanizing ways, there's no way he'd ever marry her. Actually, I know Lennon too. His mother, Aunt Laura, and my mom are close friends. Lennon's been a reckless playboy since childhood, only interested in partying and chasing women. Fortunately, Lennon's family had another son, if the eldest was a lost cause. They could always train the younger one, so they simply stopped bothering with Lennon. Someone like Lennon, who played around a lot, was only momentarily interested in Bianca. I stared straight into Bianca's arrogant eyes and replied, word by word, I won't lend it to you. Get lost. Hearing this, Bianca's face instantly darkened, and she snapped furiously, what are you so smug about, Mia? Did you get all this by being some old man's mistress, then again? A country girl like you would only appeal to those greasy old men. I have a strong young man like Lennon who adores me. Once I become the young madam of Lennon's family, I'll be waiting for you to come begging me in tears. When she can't get what she wants, she spreads rumors. Spreading slander is truly Bianca's specialty, along with her insults and threats. I just smiled and replied with a simple "oh," then picked up my backpack and headed off to the club activity. Bianca didn't come back to the dorm that night. The next day when I opened the wardrobe, I immediately caught that distinct smell of Bianca's perfume mixed with sweat. Instinctively, I pulled out that Chanel dress. Sure enough, that was the source. Bianca still hasn't kicked her habit of petty theft. Instead of asking to borrow it, she just went ahead and stole it. How classy. I waited for Bianca in the dorm, and the moment she stepped into the room, I threw the dress right in front of her. Did you steal it to wear? Bianca guiltily averted her gaze. I just borrowed it to wear for a bit. Didn't I tell you I don't lend my things? Bianca saw my aggressive stance and retorted defiantly with her neck stiffened. I didn't ruin it, did I? It's returned to you in perfect condition. We're roommates. Don't be so petty. Actually, that dress was a gift from my mom for the start of the school year. I brought it planning to wear it for a special occasion. But it ended up reeking of Bianca's overpowering perfume, completely ruined. The whole dress smells like your perfume. It's disgusting. How am I supposed to wear it now? Bianca's face flushed crimson when she heard me criticize her perfume, her confidence visibly deflating since she knew exactly how cheap the fragrance was. I'll just take it to get cleaned for you. No need. I never wear anything that's been used by others. Just pay me 120,000 directly. At the mention of 120,000, Bianca's eyes widened in shock. With no way to afford such an amount, she resorted to playing dumb. Mia, stop being so relentless. Didn't you get this outfit by sleeping around anyway? It was already tainted. Me wearing it on a date with Lennon is actually doing you a favor by cleaning up its image. Then he swung the dorm room door open and started shouting, everyone, come see this. Mia actually trades her body for designer clothes. I just borrowed it for one night, and now she's demanding 120,000 from me. Isn't that just a blatant shakedown? At the commotion, a crowd of curious girls immediately gathered by the doorway, all whispering and staring right at me. Oh my god, Mia is actually a gold digger. She always seems so quiet and reserved. Right, she's from the countryside. How could she possibly afford designer clothes? How shameless. The stuff was shady to begin with. And she has the nerve to make her roommate pay for borrowing it. She's really mastered the art of cashing in. Bianca is trying to crush me with public opinion again, but after everything I went through in my past life, I'm immune to this. I picked up the piece of clothing and let the girls outside the dorm smell it. Just smell the stench on the clothes. Who would even want to wear it? Some girls immediately covered their noses upon smelling it, while those with sensitive senses of gag reflex But there were still people defending Bianca. It's still wearable after a wash, you know. This is my clothing. Of course you wouldn't feel comfortable wearing it again. Besides, this was a gift from my mother. Don't just take her word for it without proof. Does she have any evidence? How did you know? With that, I showed the payment record I'd asked my mom for, signed with her name, Linda. I then pulled up a photo of the household register, where the field for my mother's name clearly read Linda. Bianca's eyes flickered with panic when she saw my evidence, but she still defended herself with feigned confidence. For all I know, you could have photoshopped it. Fine, I'll call the police and report you for both slander and theft. Let's see who's right when the authorities investigate. Bianca's face instantly turned pale upon hearing this, and she exclaimed loudly, Mia, don't make a mountain out of a molehill. Is it really necessary to call the police over a piece of clothing? Then you'd better pay me back the $120,000, or I'm calling the police. Fine, I'll pay you back in a couple of days. You have 3 days to return the money. If you don't, I'll file a report. Everyone here is a witness, and I've recorded this conversation. Bianca nodded and slunk away under the scornful gazes of the crowd. Only then did the girls who had gathered to watch the drama start apologizing to me one after another. A deep melancholy settled in my heart. These apologies had cost me a lifetime. For the next 2 days, Bianca didn't return to the dorm. It wasn't until the third evening that she finally returned to the dorm, carrying a bag with a clearly recognizable luxury logo, and she couldn't help but show it off. Lennon really likes me, you know. He said he felt bad seeing how hard I work every night, so he told me to go pick out anything I wanted at the mall. With that, she pulled out a Hermes bag. This bag is the latest model and super expensive, over 100,000. When Lennon saw how much I liked it, he just went ahead and bought it for me right then and there. I caught a glimpse of that bag out of the corner of my. It looked so familiar, like the one Aunt Laura carried a few years ago. Seems Lennon swiped another one of her rarely used luxury items to gift someone. Meanwhile, Yvonne remarked with envy, wow, Lennon treats you so well. Looks like Bianca's going to be Lennon's wife someday. Bianca immediately giggled shyly. Oh, it's still up in the air, but it won't be long now. When the time comes, Yvonne, you can be my assistant. I'll pay you handsomely. At this point, Bianca looked at me. As for those ungrateful country bumpkins, I'll make sure they can't survive in City A. Starting with the first one, open up Alipay. I'm transferring the 120,000 yuan back to you. I silently took out my phone and let her scan the code. Bianca actually transferred 120,000 to me. I was a bit suspicious about where her money came from. Lennon had to steal from his mom just to impress girls, so why would he be so generous with Bianca? Could it be that Bianca? I suddenly remembered something and opened WeChat to message Aunt Laura. Aunt Laura, check your closet right away, see if anything's missing. A moment later, a reply came through. Mia, my jewelry and bags really are gone. That no-good Lennon must have taken them to impress some girl. Just wait till he gets back. I'll give him a piece of my mind. Thanks for the heads up, Mia. Come over with your mom for dinner sometime. Got it, Aunt Laura. Red heart. Seeing me glued to my phone and ignoring her, Bianca grew even more furious, noticing the Apple ecosystem on my desk and the designer pajamas I was wearing. Her face twisted with envy as she spoke in a sarcastic tone. Mia, your mom is so wealthy. Could it be that she's some rich man's mistress, leaving you alone in the countryside while she lives it up, only buying you things once in a while? Honestly, that's just pathetic. You can talk trash about me all you want, but now you're insulting my family too. You're really pushing all my buttons. I stood up and slapped her right across the face. Bianca, not everyone has to rely on a man for money like you do. Bianca covered her face in disbelief. How dare you hit me? Do you have any idea who I am? I'm going to be Lennon's wife. Just you wait, I'll have Lennon send someone to finish you off. She lunged at me, flailing wildly to fight back, but I swiftly grabbed her wrist and twisted it. She immediately yelped in pain. Seriously, all those boxing lessons I took weren't for nothing. Even as I took her down, I couldn't resist quipping, hey, lady, we live in a society with laws. Do you really think Lennon's family is some all-powerful mafia from a cheesy novel? Get a grip. Besides, if Lennon dares lay a finger on me, Aunt Laura will be the first to beat the crap out of him. I only let go after I felt I'd tortured her enough. Bianca rubbed her sore wrist and snarled viciously. Even if I can't kill you, Lennon has 100 ways to make you suffer. You'll pay for what you did today. You're delusional if you think Lennon sees you as anything more than a booty call. Bet you anything he'll ask for all those gifts back within days. Bianca burst into laughter. Mia, you're just some country bumpkin. Does Lennon even know you? Stop acting like you know everything. Then a look of sudden realization dawned on her face. I get it now. You have a crush on him, don't you? You're just jealous because I'm dating him, so you made up this pathetic lie. How pathetic, someone like you wouldn't even get a second glance from Lennon. I was speechless and couldn't be bothered to argue with her, so I just put on my noise-canceling headphones to block out Bianca's disgusting voice. The peaceful days didn't last long. While I was in class for an elective course, many people around me started giving me strange looks. Alina, who was sitting next to me, carefully handed me her phone and told me, "Mia, Bianca posted on the confession wall complaining that you're unhygienic and messy, and she even took a photo of your bed." My heart sank as I glanced at my phone. Bianca was pulling the same old trick again. The caption was even nastier than in the previous life, calling me out by name. "To Mia in room 319, I've had enough of living with you. You snack and eat takeout in bed every day, then just leave the trash there. You go half a month without showering in summer, don't change your underwear. And your feet reek when you take off your shoes, while others might not notice outside. As your roommate, I'm practically getting a lung infection. Could you please move out voluntarily? We value our health." Since Alina is in the student council, she has many friends at school, which is how I could see the comments underneath. "Ugh, that's disgusting. Did bacteria just evolve into a human being? Do people like this actually exist in the world? This completely blows my mind. I can't believe I go to school with a walking biohazard. Mom, I feel so helpless." There were also comments from people who know me. "I saw Mia's bed by their dorm door last time, and it was actually quite tidy." Bianca replied, "That day, I guess my other roommate and I couldn't stand it anymore and cleaned it up for her, but it only took a few days for it to get messy again. So frustrating. I'm in the same class as Mia, and I've never noticed any unpleasant odor on her." Bianca replied, "She's got a bit of money to spare, probably bought some effective antiperspirant or deodorant to tone down the smell." Mia, Bianca already set you up during military training. Is she doing it again this time? Alina asked me, and I nodded helplessly. She said indignantly, "I'll help you fight back." Bianca, you framed Mia during military training, and now you're spreading rumors about him again. What did Mia ever do to you? You're the one who's truly rotten. How heartless. Bianca shot back instantly, "I'm not making baseless accusations. The picture is proof. You'd better watch your words." Classmate, Alina was left speechless by Bianca's audacity. She turned to me with a worried expression and asked, "Mia, what should we do? Should we go talk to the counselor?" "Don't worry, Alina. I've got a plan." After class, I didn't go back to the dorm. The thought of my bed being trashed by Bianca made me sick. So I asked my advisor for leave and checked into a high-end hotel instead. Lying on the hotel's spacious, soft bed, I felt completely at ease. The air was fresh without any toxic people around. I took out my phone and opened the surveillance app. The footage of Bianca throwing trash on my bed had been automatically saved. I smirked, but I wasn't going to clear my name just yet. The bigger the mess you made, the harder the backlash would hit her. The next day, I didn't wake up until noon and headed straight to school. The moment I stepped into the classroom, Bianca cornered me and said with an indignant tone, "Mia, why didn't you come back to the dorm last night? Did you just expect us to clean up your mess?" Yvonne chimed in from the side. Yeah, Mia, don't be so shameless. The dorm is a shared space, not some pigsty from your countryside. Have some basic hygiene, will you?" I watched the two of them playing off each other coldly, speaking only in a detached tone. "Have you two finished your little act? If you're done, move aside. I have class." After saying that, I tried to step around them to go inside, but Bianca suddenly grabbed my wrist and pulled me back. "You're coming back with us to clean the dorm, you hear me? Otherwise, I'll report you to the school and make sure you lose your housing." I leaned close to Bianca's ear and spoke in an icy tone. "Bianca, after our last fight, do you think I went too easy on you?" Bianca flinched, recalling the pain in her wrist, and let go as if shocked, but feeling humiliated, she stubbornly blocked my path anyway. I shoved her aside, strode into the classroom, and took an empty seat. Many students moved away as if avoiding the plague when they saw me sitting nearby. I looked around and asked, that disgusted by me, as I bent down and started taking off my shoes. Everyone's expressions changed and they backed away even further, but when I completely removed my shoes, the expected odor never materialized. I asked them, "Does it have any smell?" Everyone fell silent. Alina walked over and sat beside me, saying loudly, "There's no smell at all. There's really no odor at all." Alina shot Bianca a displeased look. "Bianca, you accused me of having foot odor. Shouldn't you apologize to her?" Bianca stiffened her neck and argued defensively. "She must have used some quick fix last night to cover it up. Besides, her messy bunk is a proven fact. Why should I apologize?" I leisurely put on my shoes, wiped my hands with a wet wipe, and spoke at a measured pace. "The innocent will be vindicated, the guilty exposed. The truth will come to light eventually." I looked straight into Bianca's guilty eyes and gave a mocking smile. After class, I returned to the hotel and ran into Lennon in the lobby, who was all over his new girlfriend in a display of affection. When he saw me, he leaned in to whisper something to the girl, then let go of her and walked over he said with a teasing grin. Well, if it isn't little Mia, fancy running into you in a place like this. He deliberately emphasized a place like this, his tone dripping with implication. His term of address gave me goosebumps. Not everyone is as promiscuous as you, Lennon, okay? I glanced at the hostile girl behind him with utter disdain. Lennon scoffed. Well, I wasn't messing with you, so why'd you go tattle to my mom? Looks like Aunt Laura's parenting is lightning fast. She already gave you a talking to. Your ex, Fling, messed with me, so I had to borrow a knife to kill someone. Who? Your roommate, Bianca. Lennon burst out laughing. I heard about it too. How could someone like you, Miss Mia, get played like that? Yeah, I was such a naive pushover in my past life that I actually got myself killed. Just thinking about it makes me annoyed. I waved my hand dismissively. Enough with the chit-chat. I'm going back to rest. You go find your little girlfriend, Mia, you bitch. How dare you seduce my Lennon? Just then, Bianca charged out. Before I could dodge, she grabbed my hair. A sharp pain shot through my scalp, and I instinctively kicked her in the stomach. In pain, Bianca let go and was sent flying backward. I couldn't believe Bianca had been following me. I stared at her in disbelief, clutching her stomach in pain. Bianca struggled to her feet and shot me a venomous glare. So this is why you've been avoiding the dorm, Mia, sneaking around with Lennon behind my back. I threw my hands up in protest, crying out my innocence. You can call me messy, Bianca, but accusing me of sleeping with Lennon, that's a curse waiting to happen. Lennon, who had been watching from the sidelines, was left speechless and glared at me with gritted teeth. Mia, did you dip your tongue in poison or something? I ignored him and moved to press the elevator button, eager to escape the conflict. Unfortunately, Bianca kept pestering me relentlessly, and I was starting to get annoyed. Lennon, clean up your own mess with these flings, or I'll have even more to report about you. He finally stepped up to me, pushed the shrewish Bianca aside, and said coldly, Bianca, have you saved up enough money yet? How dare you show your face around me, saving money? My ears perked up. It seems Aunt Laura ordered Lennon to reclaim everything. Bianca sold one of the items and now can't pay it back. Lennon went from being her partner to her creditor, yet she's still lost in her own fantasy. Lennon, how could you do this to me? We were so in love. Ugh. I was so disgusted I nearly gagged, but Bianca just pretended not to notice. Lennon also had a complicated look on his face, wondering how he could have been so blind to pick her. Bianca, stop being so disgusting. If you don't pay me back right now, I'm calling the cops. The mention of police made Bianca panic. After all, she really had committed a crime. She reached out to grab Lennon, hoping to use her charm offensive. The new girlfriend, who had been watching the drama unfold, finally realized who the enemy was. She swiftly stepped in, blocking Bianca's hand, and linked arms with Lennon, saying, Honey, who is this? That voice was even more sickly sweet than Bianca's. Now I've got goosebumps not just on my arms, but my scalp is tingling too. Just some ugly woman who's been pestering me. Baby, don't get jealous. Seeing someone standing up for him, Lennon was thoroughly amused. He playfully booped the girl's nose and answered gently. Bianca was so furious at their intimate display that her face turned green with rage, and she started screaming insults at the other woman. How dare you? You shameless tramp. Try to seduce my Lennon. I'll smash your face in. Seeing things take a turn for the worse, I immediately dashed into the elevator. As the doors closed, I saw Lennon slap Bianca hard across the face. See, I told you, a woman with no self-respect is like rotten cabbage. Back in my room, I received a WeChat message from Lennon. I've handled this part for you. Bianca, just don't say anything to my mom about the rest, or she'll freeze my credit card. Begging for mercy, GIF. I replied with an okay, JPG. I wondered how Bianca would manage to come up with that 120,000 lying in bed. The thought lingered briefly before I drifted off to sleep. I continued going to school as usual. After taking concrete action last time, my classmates were less hostile toward me, though I still got whispered about by people who recognized me on the street. But I paid no attention to it and went about my daily routine of attending classes like always. Meanwhile, Bianca hadn't shown up to class for days. No one knew what she was up to. When a troublemaker goes quiet, they're definitely up to no good. Sure enough, within a couple of days, the confession wall was flooded with new rumors about me. Exposed. Mia from dorm 319 stays out all night fooling around with an older man. Not only is she a mess, but her private life is a total disgrace. Below the post was a photo of me and an older man standing side by side waiting for the elevator at a hotel. The photo was taken from a tricky angle, making it look like we were holding hands. The comment section exploded again, with even more insults hurled my way, and some creepy guys even asked how much I charged for a night. The looks from my classmates grew even more suggestive and knowing. Bianca really knows how to pick her moments. She always drops bombshells during class, trying to make me squirm under everyone's scrutiny. But I'm not that timid girl from my past life anymore. I quietly left a comment under that social media post, "Keep slandering me like this, and you might just end up with a criminal charge." Bianca didn't respond. Many of Bianca's supporters were calling out for her in the comments, urging her to come and clap back at me, but Bianca seemed to have vanished into thin air, not saying a word. I chuckled to myself, what a loser, then turned around and said to Yvonne, who is sitting behind me, "I need to go back to the dorm to grab my stuff. I forgot my keys, can I borrow yours?" Yvonne paused for a moment, said "oh," and handed me her keys. As soon as she gave them to me, she started tapping away furiously on her phone. As I turned around, I caught a glimpse of the note, "Goddess Bianca, after class, I went back to my dorm room." Yvonne said she was heading back to the dorm too, so we walked together, and she watched me pack my things, fighting back my discomfort. I opened the closet in the mess. Thankfully, it was fairly clean inside. So I grabbed just a few pieces of underwear and clothes, all packed up and ready to go. Yvonne called out to me, gesturing with her chin toward that pile of trash, "Mia, you're back. Aren't you going to clean up your own mess? There's no one else in the dorm. Stop pretending. Do you really think I don't know who made this mess?" Yvonne looked uncomfortable. "It was you who did it, and you still refuse to admit it. You country folks are always lying. I've told you before, stop saying country folks all the time. Aren't you embarrassed for your own kind? What gives you, someone who thinks framing a roommate is a virtue, the right to discriminate? Let me be straight with you. I have proof of everything Bianca did. If I report her, given her character, she'll definitely drag you down with her. You'd better think carefully about what you should do." With that, I turned and walked away without another glance at the pale-faced Yvonne behind me. Yvonne was no fool. The very next day, she took to the confession wall to clear everything up. She posted video evidence of Bianca tossing trash onto my bed, proving the accusations about my poor hygiene were deliberately fabricated by Bianca. She also shared screenshots of their chat history. I've been stalking for days and finally caught the chance to secretly photograph Mia. I deliberately framed it to make it look like she was holding hands with some old man. That bitch is definitely going down now. I'll even spread rumors that she has an STD. She'll be fired in no time. Haha. The comments section instantly flipped, and Bianca became the target of blame. Feeling played, the classmates hurled even nastier insults than before, with curses pouring in non-stop. But I couldn't care less about those comments. The internet is always like this, full of fair-weather followers. Hardly anyone bothers to verify the truth. They just blindly follow the crowd. Of course, things were about to get even more intense. Enraged by Yvonne's betrayal, Bianca stormed back to the dorm and confronted her physically. During their struggle, Bianca's face was slashed by a protruding metal edge on a chair, leaving her permanently disfigured. Yvonne also suffered a fractured shin from the fall and was hospitalized. When I visited her in the hospital, she glared at me with pure venom. "Mia, your little scheme worked like a charm. Feeling proud of yourself." Yvonne, you know perfectly well that if you hadn't spoken up first, Bianca would have found a way to pin this on you. Who knows if you even have real evidence? I took out my phone and played the surveillance footage right in front of Yvonne. Yvonne's eyes widened in shock. When did you install surveillance cameras?" "I put them in right at the start of the semester. You know what they say, lie down with dogs, wake up with fleas. Did you really think I'd walk into the lion's den without being prepared? I'd be dead before I knew what hit me." "Mia, you're terrifying. You're nothing like that plain country girl from the beginning of the school year." "Of course not. I'm the heiress of the Sioux group, though I come from the countryside. We country folks are nobody's pushovers." Truth be told, that naive and weak Mia is long gone. I placed the bouquet of twin flowers I'd specially bought beside Yvonne's desk and prepared to leave. As I reached the doorway, I couldn't help but offer one last reminder. "Yvonne, you'd better spill everything you know before Bianca takes control of the situation. After all, if one twin flower rots, the other will die too." Just a few days later, Yvonne dropped another bombshell on the confession wall. Bianca is the one with the questionable lifestyle. She looks down on the guys at school for being broke, so she goes after sugar daddies, has slept with numerous older men, and even caught an STD. A photo of Bianca kissing an older man alongside a hospital syphilis diagnosis report. Not only that, she deliberately applied virus-infected fluid to Mia's underwear in an attempt to give her an STD. Just as I expected, the dog-eat-dog drama is unfolding. Yvonne is clearly the clever one here, playing along with Bianca while secretly gathering evidence. She's been holding all the right cards. That day, I intentionally said I was going back to the dorm to get something, just to bait Bianca into showing her true colors. She's been just as vicious in this life as she was in the last. When Bianca's darkest secret was exposed by Yvonne so effortlessly, she completely lost her mind. She stormed into the hospital and stabbed Yvonne. Yvonne survived, but suffered severe lung damage. Leaving her permanently hospitalized, Bianca was arrested and charged with attempted murder. Yvonne was clever yet foolish. She thought she knew Bianca well, assuming Bianca would still scheme against her behind the scenes, but I knew Bianca was an absolute lunatic. If she despised someone to the extreme, she would inevitably snap. So in this life, I'm quite satisfied with Yvonne the strategist's fate. A living hell is far more agonizing than a quick death. As for Bianca, on the day she was arrested, all charges against her were handed over to the court. Lennon forced her to repay the debt, leaving her no choice but to sleep with wealthy men. Unfortunately, she ended up with a fake sugar daddy who scammed her for sex. She got neither the money nor escaped without catching an STD. Lennon promptly filed a lawsuit against her for intentional conversion of property. I submitted video evidence and screenshots to the court documenting her vandalism of my bed, spreading malicious rumors, and smearing my underwear with virus-contaminated fluid. The charges included willful destruction of property, defamation, and malicious transmission of disease. The verdict was swiftly delivered. Given the overwhelming evidence and egregious nature of her actions, Bianca was sentenced to life imprisonment. On the day she was led out of the courthouse in handcuffs, crowds of students from our school rushed to witness the scene. Hurling accusations and insults without restraint, I sneered coldly. The classmate with manic disorder showed up again, and this time he picked up a stone, only to hurl it at Bianca. Bianca's lifelong luck ran out at that moment. The stone missed her, but the troublemaker was taken into custody for causing a disturbance, yet Bianca found no respite even behind bars. Rumor has it she was shunned by her cellmates due to an STD, beaten daily, which worsened her condition beyond treatment. She passed away not long after being incarcerated. In the end, good and evil will always get their just desserts. Now, I'm about to embark on my new college life. The end. Story 2. My sister and I were twin koi fish in Guanin's lotus pond. After being sent by Guanin to the Dragon Clan to restore their fortune, blessed with exceptional fertility, I married the Dragon King and bore him many heirs. My sister, born with divine combat prowess, aided her general husband in battles against foreign tribes. The exiled dragon princess's return marked the instant collapse of our clan's divine fortune. My sister was cast into the mire by her divine might general, only to receive common blades from the princess. Those calloused hands of yours would only forge uglier weapons that repel all who see them. My dragon king husband slaughtered our last-born with his sword, fashioning the bones into trinkets for the princess' amusement. How dare a fated, sagging wretch like you aspire to be the dragon consort? Guanin sent emissaries to fetch us, promising ascension to immortality once we shed these demon forms through death. My sister, her demonic bones extracted, dragged her broken body to the execution platform and leapt without hesitation. Maeve, I'm so tired, I'm going home now. Watching my dragon king husband dangle our child's skull before the princess in the distance, I could only laugh bitterly at my own folly. With those words, I leapt after my sister from the demon-slaying platform. As my sister and I fell entwined in each other's arms, our demonic forms shed to reveal immortal beings. Only then did two heart-wrenching sobs echo through the void. My sister and I were originally a pair of koi fish beneath Guanin's lotus pond. As the dragon clan had been declining for years, Guanin sent us down to restore their fortune. My sister, a naturally combative black koi, married a dragon general and transformed into a divine weapon to aid him against foreign enemies, while I, a red koi blessed with fertility, with the dragon king to help him continue his bloodline, attend to domestic affairs and continue our lineage, while my sister conquers lands beyond. Just as the dragon clan's fortune began to improve, their long-lost princess returned. The dragon clan's prosperity vanished overnight. We all knew the exiled princess was a foreign spy, yet they fell deeper under her spell, loving her to the marrow, refusing defeat. The younger sister sought out her god-of-war husband, but upon arrival, she witnessed the same warrior who once knelt before deities swearing eternal devotion to her, now accepting Lyriel's mundane blade like sacred treasure, that crude black sword's all calluses. Lyriel understands me with this iron blade, no battle shall defeat me. General Soren, now basking in military glory, seems to have forgotten how his sister sacrificed her own spine to forge a divine blade for his vengeance after their family fell in battle, the very weapon that made him invincible. That day, the legendary blackbone sword of the Dragon Palace was thrust into the mire, never to see daylight again. Yet General Soren spent that night watching meteors with Princess Lyriel across the Illusion Sea. I held my sister close and comforted her through the night. I truly believed my devoted husband would never betray me, until the day I gave birth, when I realized he'd long fallen for Princess Lyriel. Left alone in the delivery room, writhing in excruciating pain, I dragged my bleeding body to him, only to be met with his icy sneer. "Stop the theatrics, this isn't your first childbirth." Through tear-ridden eyes, I saw Princess Lyriel's triumphant, smug face, and felt my heart shatter into emptiness. Your Highness, when shall we be blessed with a child? Lyriel shouldn't bear the loneliness of the palace alone. They had spent the night in carnal pleasure while I screamed through childbirth, my heart wrenched with anguish torment, when his dragonkin faced extinction without heirs. It was I who drained my life essence time and again with fertility rites to gift him descendants. But now I see it was all just my wishful thinking. The birthday celebration for our child was utterly desolate. Only my sister and I, along with our children, rejoiced for this newborn dragon prince. Yet despite this, my husband recklessly destroyed the banquet I had painstakingly prepared for 3 days and nights. He left only these icy words, with foreign invaders at our gates and the dragon palace's coffers running dry. How dare you squander our resources like this? You're unworthy of being this clan's matriarch. I stared at the shattered porcelain littering the floor, my son's tender skin pierced by the shards, my heart twisting into knots, all because my banquet inconvenienced his plans to accompany Princess Lyriel to see the abyssal auroras. He smashed everything to pieces without hesitation, my heart along with it. I watched my husband walk away resolutely with Princess Lyriel in his arms. Smiling with quiet acceptance, both my sister and I knew, this exiled princess returning home was actually a spy sent by the merfolk, so Oren never loved me after all, even knowing it was a pit of fire. He still leaped without hesitation, willingly abandoning the draconic fortune I'd fought centuries to build for him. Piece by piece, I picked up the shattered porcelain from the floor, letting the shards cut my hands as I gave my sister a resigned smile. Little sister. Perhaps we were wrong from the very beginning. Our mistake was loving them. Now we're left battered and broken. My sister touched the hollow space where her spine should have been. Maybe everything went wrong the moment she first ruthlessly severed it. Elder sister, let's go home. I gazed at the children filling my hall and sighed to my sister. Silly girl, your elder sister can never go back now. Indeed, there's no turning back for me. I still have children. Infants swaddled in their blankets. I could never bring them all before Guanyin, nor could I bear to abandon the children I've raised. Guanyin had long warned us that saving the dragon's fortune would be an arduous path. If the road seems too treacherous, there's always a place for us in the lotus pond of the southern sea. But I can't bear it. I simply can't. I cannot leave. My child is both my shackles and the lock I willingly let my husband fasten upon me. My sister's eyes reddened, tears pooling at their rims. Sister, if you won't leave, neither shall I. This dragon palace is so heartless. How could I abandon you to suffer here alone? I gently wiped the tears from my sister's face, my heart softening with compassion. I told her we'd return to heaven once the babe in swaddling clothes could stand on its own, but I was wrong. My child wouldn't live to see its first birthday. At night, I cradled my child to sleep. The moment I closed my eyes, a deafening explosion jolted me awake. Peering outside, I saw my sister's palace completely surrounded by draconian soldiers. I charged toward my sister's quarters without a second thought. As I burst through the palace gates, I witnessed my sister, her body riddled with sword wounds, being repeatedly struck down by her general husband, only to rise and fight again, my heart wrenched with unbearable agony. Soren, how dare you treat my sister this way? Yet Soren's icy blade seemed to grow sharper as it swung down toward my sister once more. Kina, that stone turtle of yours wounded my Lyriel. I merely struck it down with my sword. What crime is there in that? Ignoring her own wounds, my sister gathered the barely breathing pebble in her blood-stained hands, its shell already separated from its body. It slowly raised its head, then drew its last breath. Sister sobbed hysterically. I'll kill you. Kill you. Yet Princess Lyriel threw herself into Soren's arms in terror. General, I'm so frightened. I was merely strolling through the garden when, to my utter shock, that stone tortoise suddenly turned murderous. They say pets take after their masters. That tortoise's uncanny intelligence proves someone must have incited it to attack. But let's be honest, this is Lyriel's fault. Had I not been idling in the garden, none of this would have happened. My fault, all my fault. Soren held Princess Lyriel even tighter in his embrace. With peach blossom eyes brimming with tenderness, he whispered softly, Don't be afraid, Lyriel, with me here, no one can harm you. Yet how could Soren not know that Pebble was the mystical turtle my sister and I brought from the Lotus Pond? His countless victories against foreign tribes were largely due to the stone turtle's divinations, which helped him read battlefields and celestial signs, earning him legendary fame and glorious military achievements. Yet now, he had slain Pebble with his own hands. It felt like a blade had been plunged into her sister's heart, bleeding her dry. Soren, how could you be so heartless? Beneath her delicate facade, Princess Lyriel curled her lips in a provocative smirk. They say you're the divine general's favored weapon, the blade he can't wield without. Looking back now, I was completely out of my depth. The younger sister charged at Princess Lyriel with a trembling voice. Yet again, Soren struck her down to her knees. Veins bulged across Soren's iron dark face as he stomped on the kneeling girl. He knew his sister had no backbone, so he aimed for her weakest spot and stomped down mercilessly. Her face drained of all color in an instant, deathly pale. "Kina, don't push me." A cold laugh escaped her lips as she spat out a mouthful of dark blood. "No one in this world ever forced your hand. Every choice stems from your own will. Spare me the noble act, since when did betrayal sound so righteous?" Without a moment's hesitation, I drove my blade toward Soren. I knew his lifetime of battles meant this fight would drag on endlessly. For my sister's sake, I swear I'll make him pay. Surprisingly, Soren didn't even flinch from this sword strike. Instead, with bitter resentment in his eyes, he looked down at my sister and said, "This strike repays your debt. From now on, we go our separate ways." Watching dark blood gush from my sister's chest, I cried out in anguish, "Go our separate ways, Soren. Have you forgotten how I fought tooth and nail to avenge your family when the merfolk slaughtered them all? But now, you've fallen for the very mermaid who slaughtered your entire family." A vein throbbed at Soren's temple. "Silence. She's the lost Princess Lyriel. How dare you slander her? Can't see it, or won't see it. It's always been about choice." Soren kicked my little sister to the ground, her clothes torn and covered in grime. I carefully lifted her battered body, my heart aching with sorrow. "Sis, it hurts so much. Our Pebble's gone. He was just a baby." Gently wiping the tears from my sister's eyes, my heart twisted in pain. How could Soren possibly bring himself to do it? Pebble was the spirit turtle Soren had watched grow up, step by step. We treated him as our own child, only for him to meet such a tragic end. Even in Pebble's final moments, he smiled and begged me to forgive Soren. The fury I'd been suppressing finally erupted. What began as resentment toward Princess Lyriel for stealing his affection has now curdled into pure hatred. Was it her who rendered all our efforts worthless overnight, or did she manipulate Soren into murdering Pebble, the creature we'd nurtured with such care? I raised my sword and lunged recklessly at Princess Lyriel, but the moment the blade touched her chest, my strength drained away and I collapsed to the ground. My blood boiled in my veins as I forced my head up through sheer will, crimson eyes blazing. I knew my husband had arrived. Only he, wielding my soul-shifting demon pearl, could control me so utterly. I spat out a clot of blood from my chest, letting out a pained, wretched laugh. So this was my reward, the husband I'd nourished for decades with half my demon core. The man who'd been on the brink of death with his spiritual energy scattered, now using that very power to force me to my knees. My heart lay shattered, its pieces beyond mending. Do I hate him? I let out a self-deprecating chuckle. I wish I could hate him with every fiber of my being, yet I can't forget how he'd cradle me in his arms, meticulously arranging my hair with endless tenderness. He once vowed that when the dragon clan prospered, he'd drape the land in crimson for our wedding, hosting feasts for hundreds of miles to crown me with eternal glory. But now, wielding the demon core I gifted him, he strikes me down to shield his beloved, leaving me sprawled in the dirt like a mangy cur, swallowing every ounce of humiliation. He must have long forgotten everything he has was given by me. The demon core in Oren's grip grew heavier still, clutching Princess Lyriel tighter. He burned with anguish at her pained whimpers. His love for Princess Lyriel runs deeper than mine ever did. To do what one knows is impossible, willingly and gladly, he roared at me. "If you so much as harm a hair on Lyriel's head today, you'll regret it." I laughed bitterly. Years of deep affection couldn't withstand another woman's faintest whimper. He said it was my consuming jealousy that locked me and our child in the abyssal darkness of Dragon's Abyss. The abyss was filled with stagnant water, in our darkest hour of starvation. I slit my wrist and fed the child drop by drop of my lifeblood. In my delirium, I saw a burst of firelight explode across the horizon, so blinding. I'm certain Oren is trying every trick in the book to court Princess Lyriel. After all, when he once caught 1,000 firefish to create an underwater galaxy for me, I too believed he loved me deeply. But the next instant, as sparks erupted, I sensed my child's presence, my heart wrenched in agony as I collapsed to my knees, choking on silent sobs. Those explosions lighting the horizon weren't mere fireworks, they were my children detonating one by one from spiritual energy overload. Like a madwoman I scaled the cliff face repeatedly, sacrificing my last half-demon core until my hands were raw bone. Finally dragging myself ashore, I charged toward the palace in desperation, only to arrive as my last child, forced full of spiritual energy by my once beloved husband, their own father, was hurled skyward in a burst of flames. My mind went blank with shock as I screamed at the final explosion lighting the heavens, and no, only dismembered limbs falling like petals answered me. "Lyriel, is it beautiful, these flames lighting up the sky? I set them ablaze for you alone." Oren's voice pierced my ears as I knelt in the bloodied filth, gathering my children's remains piece by shattered piece. Fragments of memory swirled relentlessly through my mind. They promised to grow up well and follow me to the lotus pond of the South Sea someday, to see where I once thrived, but now, Everything is gone. I charged at Oren recklessly with my sword raised, only to be struck down by Oren's palm, his face as grim as tarnished iron. Maeve, how much longer must you keep up this tantrum? My bloodshot eyes streaked with tears as I cradled the shattered remains of our child piece by piece. Oren, you slaughtered all our children. Yet still dare claim I'm being hysterical, that I'm jealous of this woman. Oren scoffed with glacial disdain. Weaklings who couldn't sustain mere spiritual energy deserve no place as my heirs. I let out a slow, bitter laugh. Unworthy, you say. Have years of bearing your countless heirs made you forget your feeble imperial destiny, that you were fated to be childless? Each child was born through my sacrifice, nourished by my very essence through 10 moons of pregnancy, so in the end, none of them were worthy to be called your children. I'm exhausted, too weary to argue anymore. I slowly close my eyes, wishing this were just a bad dream. He still calls me Maeve, gently styling my hair. This time was different. He threw me into a pitch-black dungeon with no hope of escape. He wanted me dead. In that dungeon, I watched as my best friend was whipped until not an inch of her skin remained unbroken. We clung to each other, sobbing uncontrollably. Sister, it hurts so much. So much. Am I dying? Why can I see you? I watched my sister, once peerless in beauty and battlefield grace, now curled on the ground like a dying dog. No matter how hard I tried to hold back, the sobs came wrenching out. Don't be afraid, little sister. I'm here. I'll always be here. My sister slowly raised herself, her bloodshot eyes studying me intently once more. Our gazes met repeatedly before dissolving into tearful embraces. Sister, I can never return to the battlefield again. Soren stabbed me 3 times, 6 wounds, for Princess Lyriel's mortal weapons. He carved my flesh piece by piece to forge divine arms for her. He said it was just a piece of my flesh, all for the sake of our homeland, yet I watched him carve chunks from my body, groveling before those very merfolk who slaughtered his entire family. Sister, it hurts so much. I miss home, the lotus pond, Pebble, and you. My heart seized. Home. Do I still have one? I remember swimming freely with my sister in the lotus pond, when we were still innocent of love, only filled with wistful longing, but now we're both weary, longing for home. Sister, do you think we can ever return to the lotus pond? Without my spine, I fear I never could, but you, the crimson koi blessed by celestial fortune across all seas, you'll surely make it back. I couldn't bear to tell her that the last fragment of my demon core had just dissipated as well. Sacrificed for my deceased child, for this kingdom, my sister and I have already lost far too much. Then suddenly, a divine chant echoed simultaneously in both our ears. Red child, black child, the dragon clan's fate is spent. Knowing you've given your all, I've specially obtained 2 dragon transformation pills for you. Take this elixir, shed your carp form and transform into a dragon. Then join me in cultivation at the southern sea. Will you become dragons? We can actually become dragons. Indeed, you've attained enlightenment of the heavenly way. We can finally ascend to immortality. 100 years, we've waited a full century here. My sister and I embraced each other in tears. The lotus-bearing attendant of Guanyin told us that by shedding our mortal flesh, we could instantly cast off our demon forms and ascend as dragons. One may await natural death, or alternatively, suicide also counts as abandoning the physical form. Little sister, are you afraid of pain? Not at all. We exchanged knowing smiles. It seemed we'd both chosen to end our lives, to leave this sorrowful place behind sooner. After all, ascending as dragons was the dream we'd waited centuries to fulfill. My sister and I had resolved to dash our heads against the prison walls, when news suddenly arrived from beyond the frontier. The undefeated god of war had suffered his first defeat. Now he was dragging his battered body back to the capital to beg for punishment. My sister slowly conjured the black-boned sword Soren had once discarded into the mud, smiling with quiet resolution. All these years of unbroken victories gave him too much confidence. He actually believed he could still command the winds and clouds without me, but he'd long forgotten, back when he was frail and weak, it was I who patiently taught him swordsmanship, who reforged divine weapons from bones for him. I wiped the tears from my sister's eyes and told her, rather than dying in disgrace, let them know it was us who chose to walk away. Before the demon-slaying altar, my sister and I stood embraced, shouting toward the dragon palace. The dragon clan's reign is over. Oren, you've disgraced our ancestors. Yet at that moment, the dragon king Oren arrived in haste, clutching the skull of my still swaddled child. My heart froze in an instant. I know Oren must despise me now. But what wrong has our child ever done? He's just a baby who hasn't even seen a full month of life, yet Princess Lyriel kept toying with my child's severed head, wearing that innocent expression. Oren, the skull of the full moon is still too tender. We agreed to let it grow before the slaughter. Bitterness slowly consumed my heart. I knew Princess Lyriel must despise me. Dragons and merfolk were ancient enemies. When the merfolk nearly drove our kind to extinction, it was I who rallied with Oren to turn the tide as our kingdom fell. She was a merfolk spy, born with unnatural allure. She feigned frailty to play on Oren's sympathy, manipulating him to slowly destroy me. I knew she was the mermaid princess who'd lived in luxury half her life. Back then, my sister and I led the dragon warriors to storm their merfolk palace. Soren should have struck her down, but my sister and I spared her out of pity for her youth. She lost her home beneath the iron hooves of Oren and Soren. Yet the merfolk had plagued these shores for years. Her wealth was built on others' suffering. We left her silver coins. She too deserved a life unbroken. Refusing her people's demise, she fought through thorns to throw herself into Oren's arms. I know she hates me. All she ever wanted was my life. Princess Lyriel cooed again. Oren, I want to see sparks fly once more, but this time, I want to see theirs. Princess Lyriel's hands trembled as she pointed rigidly at my sister and me. Then locked eyes with Oren. Lyriel, if you wish to see it, I'll gladly show you. Oren hesitated briefly, a fleeting glimpse of pity in his eyes that vanished as suddenly as it appeared. Soren, my sister's husband, dragged his wounded body forward and knelt of his own accord. Your Majesty, this unworthy subject humbly requests the woman's hand and rib bones after her death, that I may forge divine weapons to atone for my crimes. With red-rimmed eyes, my dearest friend spoke to Soren. Soren, do you know the calluses you despise on my body? Every single one was earned fighting your battles. During my imprisonment by you, I endured 3,000 cuts, each blade carved to the bone, forging weapons for your cause. Did you know I counted every cut in my heart? I thought, if I followed you through 3,000 battlefields, and you rode 3,000 miles for me, I'd give you 3,000 chances. Yet you didn't spare a single one of those 3,000 blades. All fell upon me. Now is the time for us to let go. My sister swallowed the dragon transformation pill in one gulp, then leaped off the demon execution platform. I wonder what was going through Soren's mind during those brief moments watching my sister plummet straight down. My vision blurred as I reached out weakly, grasping at empty air. I looked up at my husband seated high above me, watching as he toyed with our child's skull to amuse his Princess Lyriel, and smiled with quiet resignation. Oren, we shall never meet again. I leapt from the demon-slaying platform, but the demonic winds weren't as sharp as I'd imagined, blunt, almost dull, as the blades carved into my flesh. I wondered if Oren would weep for me too. After all, this was the man who'd once sobbed uncontrollably watching me endure labor pains. I know him all too well, both the love and the hatred. After plunging into the demon-slaying platform, my best friend and I exchanged knowing smiles. The sharpest pain pales in comparison to betrayal by one's beloved. Now, the love between us is gone. A golden light swirled as my best friend and I soared into the void. Just as the Lotus Child predicted, our bodies began to swell with growing power. Golden scales emerged. Horns sprouted. We were transforming into dragons, as my sister and I rejoiced. Two heart-wrenching roars echoed through the void. They won't die. They shall not perish. Having regrets now. My heart had already turned to stone when you kept loving Princess Lyriel despite knowing she was an enemy spy. Now that all mortal ties are severed, my sister and I have transformed into dragons. Every dawn henceforth shall be glorious. We returned to the Lotus Pond and soaked there for 3 full days and nights. On the 3rd day, my little sister suddenly let out a scream. I thought she was having a nightmare, reliving her days in the mortal world, but when I looked down, I saw Pebble gently licking her body. I rubbed my eyes in disbelief. Pebble, you're alive. Pebble peeked out with just its head, grinning smugly. The spiritual energy here is incredible. In just a few days, I'll fully recover. You better pick the most beautiful shell for me then. We hugged each other in tears. Pebble, you're actually alive. Yes, I'm finally alive. Pebble tossed her head proudly. Well, you must pick the most beautiful shell for me. The younger sister's eyes glistened with tears. I'll make the goddess Nua's sacred stone your home. In the mortal realm, Princess Lyriel cruelly dismembered Pebble, tearing shell from flesh. Now that Pebble's finally back, we'll always pick the finest shells for him from now on. Nothing but happiness lies ahead. A century slipped by in the blink of an eye. My sister and I occasionally take Pebble to Southern Hill to bask in the sunshine and watch the sunrise and sunset. I can't help but marvel at how long it's been since I left the mortal world. Time is the best healer. I've nearly forgotten all those things I went through. Only when I occasionally glimpse the scars on my belly do I remember Oren kneeling repeatedly before the gods, praying fervently during my first childbirth. Just as I was beginning to forget it all, the Lotus Child suddenly led 2 strangers to the southern mountains. My sister and I rubbed our eyes several times by the Lotus Pond before daring to believe it was Oren and Soren following the Lotus Child. Instinctively, my sister and I pressed closer together. The next moment, Soren and Oren choked up simultaneously. Maeve, Kina, we've finally found you. I stood frozen, instinctively resisting the urge to unleash waves of killing intent that would send Oren flying. He spat blood. crimson eyes burning as he crawled toward me inch by inch. I involuntarily stepped back, my heart skipping a beat when he raised his hand, but the next moment, Oren dropped to his knees before me, slapping his own face repeatedly. Maeve, I was wrong. Maeve, please come home with me. Is this a plea for me? But ever since I leaped from the demon-slaying platform, the Lotus Pond has been my only home. I smirked coldly, looking down at Oren kneeling on the ground. Once, it was me who knelt there, begging him over and over, no matter how he comes or why he's here, I'll never forgive him, because the moment she chose Princess Lyriel, my heart shattered beyond repair. Soren knelt on the ground like a dog, begging his sister over and over to change her mind. They claimed Princess Lyriel's siren enchantment had bewitched them, making them favor her against their will. They never imagined we'd leave over this. They loved us, only to realize after we'd gone that they couldn't live without us. Couldn't forget us. Lying awake night after night with aching hearts, I couldn't help but let out a cold laugh. Enchantments may deceive the eyes, but never the heart. If this love runs bone deep, how could they bear to watch us suffer so? For a century after our departure, the dragonkin never won another battle, nor welcomed a single dragon-born heir. They severed 1,000 years of their lineage's destiny. Yet I know they never regretted it. They simply grew fearful, and so remembered us. They demanded our docility, our compassion, our obedience, to be nothing but their women. They conscripted us to wage their wars and bear their heirs, reducing us to hopeless captives. Only when their dragonkind crumbled did they turn back, remembering us who'd given everything. But our love had withered. A century had passed since we last met, and Oren had aged considerably. The wrinkles on his face had multiplied, while the youthful arrogance had faded. Yet when he clung to my leg in tears, begging me to return, I could still see glimpses of that same proud, indomitable Oren from our youth. Some hatred never fades. When he imprisoned me in Dragon's Abyss for torture, when he slaughtered all my children to curry favor with Princess Lyriel, those are wounds time cannot heal. My sister raised her sword and thrust it straight towards Soren. Soren once vowed that a single strike of the sword would sever all ties between us forever. Now my sister shall be the one to cut him down with her own hands. I watched as my former husband Oren knelt weeping on the ground, his eyes brimming with tears. Maeve, I beg of you, would you look at me one more time? Let me spend the rest of my life making up for how I failed you before. I stared at his face in a daze. Oren, do you still remember our firstborn's face? He was your first son. You lifted him high that day, declaring yourself a father at last. You swore you'd never fail us, that you'd care for me and our child all our lives. Yet in the end, you murdered our child, and I leaped from the demon-slaying platform. All these years, I've loved you and hated you in turn. Now I want no more entanglement. Your vows are like rotten cabbage in the gutter, utterly worthless. Maeve, I was wrong before. Give me another chance, won't you? Gazing at Oren's earnest face, I smiled with resignation. You say you love me. How will you prove it? Oren pleaded. Maeve, I'd do anything for you, even die for me. Oren hesitated for a moment, then nodded. I handed him a knife, suddenly feeling like I'd been transported back in time. Oren stood trembling, tears welling in his eyes as he clutched the dagger without daring to move. I contemptuously knocked the blade from his hand. Oren, you're still the same selfish wretch. You'll never repay this debt, not in this lifetime or the next. I could never forgive you. Oren collapsed to the ground. Unable to believe I'd leave so resolutely, he cried out to me, Maeve, I was wrong, but neither my sister nor I looked back. They claim to love us yet push us away with their own hands, only to come crawling back when their empire crumbles, begging us to restore their fading glory. Love, that died ages ago. They can't even muster enough energy to hate us properly. Indeed, time has eroded everything between us. My sister and I shall never again be trapped in these desolate mountains. From now on, we'll ride the tides as carefree immortals. Princess Lyriel, the untold tale. I am the last princess of the merfolk. When the heavens sent their chosen maiden, the doomed dragon clan launched a desperate counterattack, slaughtering every last one of my people in a single night. They call us merfolk born evil, yet they carve the pearls from our kin's skulls with their blades. They claim righteousness, but are no better than common thieves. Yet they made one fatal mistake. They let me live. You slaughtered my entire clan, yet dare tell me to live virtuously from now on. This world has always been about the strong devouring the weak, young and defenseless without parents. I was seized by the old Shark King as his plaything. I'll never forget how his foul fangs would sink into my tender flesh every full moon, tormenting me through the night. I wanted to run, but I was just a child. They tore down my sanctuary, then told me to go on living. Back then I cursed my inability to die, but later I realized I'd find them and make them wish they were dead. So I sold my body piece by piece, betting every monstrous fiend. Through this, I mastered the art of enchantment to make every man in the world adore me. My first move was to seduce the once invincible dragon general into my bed. Since he claimed to love me, I gave him love in abundance. We made passionate love, and at the peak of our intimacy, I had the drunken dragon king Orin violate me. I'll make sure they harbor secret grudges against each other, wallow in guilt toward me, and breed discord between them. Watching the once proud goddess reduced to being that man's plaything turned my stomach. More than hatred, I feel they deserve better than this. That's why I'll make them hurt the goddess for my sake. I watched them push the goddess into the abyss step by step, yet my heart was filled with desolation. I witnessed the fall of the dragonkin, yet felt nothing but emptiness within. Warlord Soren met his end without further glory, slain by the very blackbone sword that once served him best. Orin cradled the head of his last remaining child in despair. Watching the dragon bloodline fade into extinction, I watched the dragonkin perish. Downing a chalice of poison wine in one gulp, rumor has it Maven Kina later ascended to immortality. I should have known, I was meant to revere Maven Kina all along. Story 2. In the winter of the 6th year of the apocalypse, I successfully broke through to become a 10th rank ability user. When I returned to the base, there was a new woman by Hunter's side. She sat in the seat that was supposed to be mine and laughed as she fell into Hunter's arms. The partner I once risked my life to save said dismissively, "It's perfectly normal for a high-rank ability user like Brother Sue to have several women around him, isn't it?" Later, when the zombie horde attacked, they came crying to the gate of the new base I joined, begging me to save them again. 1. This was the scene that greeted me when I returned to the base. The table was filled with a dazzling array of food. The petite and cute girl beside Hunter threw a can that she had only taken a bite of into the trash can and complained, "Ugh, this doesn't taste good. I'm throwing it away." Hunter glanced up but said nothing. Under my management in the past, not even a single piece of food was allowed to be wasted on the dining table of the base's management. This was the apocalypse, not the past. The outside world was full of dangers, whether it was the mutated zombies or the harsh climate. I never dared to relax my vigilance for a moment. The food on the table was what my team and I had snatched from the midst of the zombie horde last time. We lost 2 of our brothers just for this batch of supplies, 2 vibrant lives. In this apocalypse where people were starving to death every minute, food was being discarded just because it didn't taste good. I couldn't hold back any longer and threw the package in my hand to the ground. I didn't know the base had become so rich that food could be wasted casually just because it doesn't taste good. My cold voice interrupted the harmonious gathering in front of me. Everyone looked at me. Some people avoided my gaze, too afraid to look me in the eye. "Sister Catherine, when did you get back?" "Sorry, I shouldn't be so picky. It's all my fault." The girl who had been smiling and acting coquettishly just now had her eyes red in an instant. She clutched Hunter's sleeve like a frightened rabbit. "It's just a can." Laurel has a simple mind and didn't think much about it. Hunter held Laurel's delicate little hands reassuringly, as if he had forgotten that I was his girlfriend of 2 years. Simple-minded. "Hunter, it's the 6th year of the apocalypse now." My meaningful tone made Hunter press his lips together. Could anyone who had survived until the 6th year of the apocalypse really believe she was simple-minded? So what? Laurel doesn't have any abilities. She's been well protected by other ability users before. She's not like you, so tough that you're like a man, said Hunter's good friend, Jackson. He had always disliked me for managing various affairs in the base and always liked to oppose me. "Don't fight because of me. It's all my fault," Laurel said with tears in her eyes, looking extremely pitiful. "The atmosphere was good until you came back." "What bad luck. You guys eat by yourselves. I'm going back." Jackson kicked his chair over and walked out, cursing. A flash of delight crossed Laurel's eyes, and she leaned even closer to Hunter, looking wronged. Hunter was silent for a moment, then said in a deep voice, "All right, that's just Jackson's temper. Let's continue eating. Catherine, did you succeed in breaking through this time?" Looking at the curiosity in his eyes, I subconsciously hid the fact that I had broken through to a higher rank. No, to Hunter and I were college classmates. After the zombie outbreak, we both awakened our abilities one after another. We fought side by side for 6 years, and our strength was always on par. At that time, many large bases wanted to recruit us, but Hunter refused. He believed that a high-rank ability user like him shouldn't be subservient to others. He didn't like being controlled. So I had no choice but to reject the offers from other bases and accompany him in building this small base. He smoothly rose to the 9th rank. But I hit a bottleneck after reaching the 8th rank and couldn't break through for a long time. Among ability users, the gap of 1 rank was like an ant trying to shake a tree, an insurmountable difference. Since then, his attitude towards me gradually became strange. He even stopped asking for my opinion on many decision-making matters related to the base. I tried to break through many times. Not only did I often fail, but the ability fluctuations emitted during the breakthrough would also attract a large number of zombie attacks. That's why I went to the no man's land alone this time, because the dissatisfaction with me in the base was growing louder and louder. They had forgotten how I protected them when they were breaking through, but now I was extremely grateful for this solitary journey. On the way, I killed countless zombies and saved many teams that had come out of the base to search for supplies. Since Hunter built this base, I had devoted too much time and energy to managing all kinds of affairs. During the 3 months I was away, I didn't have to worry about the base's supplies or personnel changes. After fully immersing myself in combat, it was only natural that I advanced to the 9th rank. The fluctuations during the breakthrough attracted a high-rank zombie nearby. This was a God-given opportunity, but it also brought with it the shadow of death. 9th-rank zombies had always been one of the targets pursued by major bases. It wasn't just humans who were progressing. The zombies were also gradually developing thoughts and abilities. Zombies with abilities would form a crystal core in their chests. Consuming the crystal core could absorb the zombie's ability. High-rank zombies could command all lower-ranked zombies within a 100-mile radius. In that battle, I did my best and it was a close call. My right hand was almost useless after that battle. Looking at the overwhelming tide of zombies, I had no choice but to consume the crystal core that I had originally prepared to give to Hunter, and thus, I broke through to the 10th rank. Looking at the disdain in Hunter's eyes at this moment, I suddenly felt extremely grateful to those damn zombies that had tried to kill me. If it weren't for them, I might have been stupid enough to give away the 9th rank crystal core. After getting the answer, Hunter casually shifted his gaze behind me and asked, "Who is this?" Mabel behind me had a cold expression. She had witnessed everything that had just happened, and her attitude towards Hunter wasn't friendly at the moment. A girl I saved on the way back. Her base was breached by zombies. Sister-in-law, not to be mean, but our base is short on supplies right now. It's not good for you to keep bringing people back like this, is it? Leah leaned back in her chair with her arms crossed, her dissatisfaction obvious. I raised an eyebrow, my tone unfriendly. I picked you up, and now there's a problem with me picking up a 7th rank fire-type ability user. Or would you prefer it if I picked up someone who's completely helpless and picky about food? My words were clearly aimed at someone, and everyone present understood who I was targeting. 3. When they heard that Mabel was a 7th rank fire-type ability user, the expressions of the people present softened a bit. Maybe I shouldn't have come to the base. I'm sorry for dragging everyone down. I'm just an ordinary person without any abilities. Maybe I should just leave on my own, Laurel said, on the verge of tears. Her lower lip trembled, and her red nose made her look incredibly pitiful. Hunter's eyes showed a hint of distress. He pulled Laurel into his arms and said softly, "What do you mean by dragging us down? It's our duty as ability users to protect you. Do you think I, a 9th rank ability user, can't protect a little girl like you?" Others also chimed in to comfort her. That's right. Isn't the purpose of building the base to protect humans? What the deputy base leader said is too harsh. Are ability users really superior? Mabel had a fiery temper. She stood in front of me with a scowl. I thought I entered a base, but it feels like I fell into a cesspool with such foul-mouthed people. You're eating and drinking the supplies that ability users risk their lives to bring back. Not being grateful is bad enough, but looking so entitled. Were your brains thrown away with the placenta when you were born? Who told you that ability users are always here to protect humans? Have you been protected so well that you don't know what's going on outside? You're all idiots, just as Mabel said. Not all ability users were protectors. In most small bases run by men, the treatment of ordinary people was far from good. Men were often underfed and forced to do dirty and tiring work every day. As for women, they had little dignity. They were expected to satisfy the sexual needs of ability users at any time. No one would ask if they were willing. If they wanted to live, they had to obey. Because in even worse bases, ordinary people were even kept as the last resort for food. This was the reality. Cruel and cold, I had always protected them in an ivory tower. The worst things they had seen were just the menacing zombies. They had never witnessed the ugliness of human nature. Catherine, is this how the people you bring back talk? If you don't want to stay, you can get out of the base. Hunter's face turned completely cold, and his dissatisfaction was palpable. I pulled Mabel back behind me and looked at the two people hugging tightly in front of me with a sarcastic smile. Is there a problem with the people I bring back? At least they're better than some mistresses who shamelessly cling to other people's boyfriends. Hunter, have you forgotten that you're my boyfriend? The smile faded from my face, and I looked coldly at the disgusting couple in front of me. Laurel struggled out of Hunter's arms in a panic, her hands tightly twisting together. It's not like that. Brother Sue and I aren't what you think. He was just comforting me out of kindness. As soon as she finished speaking, a snort came from the table. Sister-in-law, do you know how many partners high-rank ability users have these days? It's normal for a high-rank ability user like Brother Sue to have several women around him, right? Leah looked dismissive, her words full of sarcasm. According to what you said, I should also go find several men, I said calmly, glancing at Hunter's furrowed brows. Leah blurted out, how can men and women be the same? That would make you a slut. It's considered a sign of success for men to have multiple partners, but a woman with multiple partners is called a slut. Could it be that you're actually a man, Leah? After returning to the room with Mabel, I sat alone for a long time. It would be a lie to say that I wasn't sad or wronged after giving so much and ending up in this situation. It turned out that while I was in a life and death situation, the person I loved most was hugging another woman affectionately. After the bitterness in my heart, nausea followed. I had never imagined that the person I had known for 10 years and been in a relationship with for 2 years had rotted away before I even realized it. Sister Catherine, are you okay? Mabel hesitated, her eyes filled with worry. I pulled the corners of my mouth, but I couldn't manage a smile. Sister Catherine, why don't we leave? These ungrateful people aren't worth you staying here and working yourself to the bone for them. You're already a— She looked back at the locked door, then continued in a lowered voice, a 10th rank ability user. Do you know how badly major bases would want to recruit you if they found out? Besides, I'm not bad either. Even if I can't join an elite team, I can still join an ordinary team and go out on hunts. I looked up at her, and Mabel avoided my gaze. Which base are you from, Mabel? Mabel froze, her face turning pale. She stammered, I'm from Luoqing base. I came out this time to gather intelligence and happened to meet you. I just wanted to see how big a base with a 10th rank ability user could be, seeing how they treated you. I really feel it's not worth it. Sister Catherine, Mabel spared no effort in promoting her base. 9/10 of the people in the base are women. The atmosphere is great, and we're like sisters. You'll definitely like it. I pressed my lips together and was silent for a while. Give me some time, I'll think about it. There weren't just those ungrateful people in this base, there were also many ordinary people I had saved from the outside. If I left, how would Hunter, Jackson, and the others manage them? The next day, when I went downstairs, no one else was there yet. Only Laurel was sitting barefoot in my seat, chatting with the aunt in charge of cooking. Auntie, what's for today? I'm making your favorite shepherd's purse and pork dumplings. The base leader specifically told me to, the aunt said. Laurel closed her eyes happily, and her fair cheeks turned pink. Thank you, Auntie. I stood at the corner of the stairs and watched the aunt flattering Laurel. We all think you and the base leader make a great couple, but didn't everyone know that Hunter and I were a recognized couple? When the aunt saw me coming down, she looked embarrassed. Deputy base leader, I'll go make the dumplings. She left in a hurry, leaving just me and Laurel there. You're jealous of me, aren't you, Catherine? Laurel propped her face up with her slender wrist and tilted her head to look at me. Your boyfriend dotes on me, and the people you've risked your life to protect like me more. It's so pathetic to be a woman like you. It's your own fault, not mine. I relaxed my clenched hands and said calmly, what would I be jealous of you for? Jealous of your shamelessness for being a mistress, or jealous of your dependence on men to survive. I'm different from you. I don't need to rely on others' affection to live. 5. After I finished speaking, I went upstairs and knocked on Mabel's door. She was still asleep, looking sleepy when she opened the door, with her shoulder-length hair sticking up in all directions. Sister Catherine, I decided to accept what you said yesterday. Let's leave now. Coincidentally, I hadn't packed up the duffel bag I used to carry my clothes yesterday, so I could leave right away. Why so sudden? Mabel looked at me in surprise, then smiled. Let's go. Let's leave right now. When we went downstairs and past the living room, Hunter was lounging in a chair, his right arm around Laurel's shoulders. Catherine, what do you mean by this? He looked at the black duffel bag in my hand with a frown. I'm leaving the base, Hunter snapped. There has to be a limit to your tantrums. Are you really going to abandon everyone in the base over such a trivial matter? Mabel spat in disgust. Let you ungrateful wretches rot. You're nothing but ungrateful beasts who eat when served but curse as soon as the bowl is down. Let her go. Without Brother Sue to back her up, she'll probably regret it and want to come crawling back. We don't just take anyone, Jackson sneered, shooting me a disdainful look. I had clearly dedicated more effort to the base, but he always believed it was all Hunter's doing. It was as if I could accomplish nothing without Hunter. Thankfully, I didn't spare them even a single extra glance. Catherine, you should know that if you leave now, it means you're breaking up with me. Hunter's eyes were chillingly cold, his dark, unblinking gaze fixed on me. This time, I turned to face him, a mocking smile playing on my lips. What else would it mean? Do you really think I'd still want a rotten cucumber like you? Mabel chimed in. A man who doesn't respect himself is like rotten cabbage. I tossed my duffel bag into the backseat of the Jeep. As soon as I got in, many people came over to greet me. Deputy base leader, are you going out again? Are you going to search for supplies? Hiding the coldness in my eyes, I replied politely, I'm quitting the Tongxing base as of today. From now on, you can report your supply needs directly to the base leader. Unexpectedly, someone in the crowd protested. Why? The base leader is so busy. When would he have time for such trivial matters? You brought us here. You can't just abandon us. Is it because the base leader brought back a pretty girl? Deputy base leader, being so jealous isn't a good look for a woman. A bolt of lightning struck down from the sky, creating a deep pit in front of the car and terrifying everyone. Perhaps I had been too easy going for too long, leading them to think I was a pushover and that everything I did was insignificant. If it's so trivial, then go to the other administrators. Are they useless? Can't they handle such a small thing? This was the first time I lost my temper. It was also the first time I used my abilities on ordinary people. Everyone stared at me, stunned. Deputy base leader, the energy I released caught Hunter's attention. He seemed to have realized something and looked at me with suspicion. Catherine, are you? The moment he opened his mouth, I rolled up the car window, blocking out all external sounds. I didn't want to hear their barking. 6. Luoqing Base was a large-scale base named after the city. It wasn't too far from my current base. It was just in the neighboring city. However, with zombies running rampant, there were no survivors left in the densely populated urban areas. The once clean and tidy streets were now overgrown with plants. We took many detours, wasting a lot of time, and had to clear wave after wave of zombies. Mabel blew at her accidentally singed bangs in confusion. Why does it seem like there are more zombies than when we came? I frowned, eyeing the piles of charred zombies in front of the car. The number of zombies recently is unusually high, pushing down my unease. We managed to reach Luoqing before nightfall. Our base is in the suburbs. It'll take another 2 or 3 hours to drive there given the current road conditions, but it's already dark. How about we find a place to rest for the night? Mabel suggested reasonably. Zombies were more active at night than during the day, and an ability user's energy wasn't infinite. Running out of energy could mean death if even a small group of zombies attacked. I drove the car to a less populated residential area in the city, parked it, and prepared to rest for the night. Let's just spend the night in the car. After advancing to the 10th rank, I could clearly feel that my eyesight and hearing had improved significantly. Even the slightest sound could reach my ears instantly. Sis, how much longer until we reach Luoqing base? Woohoo, there are so many zombies, and you're injured. What should we do? It's okay, Naomi, hold on a little longer. We've already reached Luoqing. Tomorrow at dawn, I'll go into the city to find a car, and then we can reach the base. Once we're there, you won't be bullied anymore. 2 voices came from the darkness. The latter sounded out of breath, clearly badly injured. I opened my eyes and looked at the quiet night. Mabel, there are survivors in this residential area, and someone might have been infected by zombies. Mabel's expression turned serious. Let's search separately. No need. I know where they are. I led Mabel through the darkness. My ability was lightning-based, and using it would create too much noise. Mabel simply incinerated the scattered zombies. I stopped in front of a worn-out security door. Mabel looked at me questioningly. Here, yeah. I nodded, mentally preparing myself for the possibility that the girl inside had turned into a zombie, but that wasn't the case. Inside the room were 2 young girls. The cleaner-looking girl held the other tightly, eyeing us warily. Who are you? We don't have any food. Mabel held a ball of fire, ready to attack. Who is she to you? The girl hesitated for a moment. She's my sister. She was bitten by a zombie. Put her on the ground first. The older sister weakly raised her head, her pale lips parting as she let out a weak cough. Ahem, sirs, I'm an ability user. I let out a sigh of relief and quickly went to check her injuries. 7. Ability users had all survived the mutation process and were no longer vulnerable to the zombie virus, so even if they were injured, there was no need to worry about turning into zombies. Mabel reassured them. We're both ability users from Luoqing base. We won't hurt you. Where did you come from? There shouldn't be any humans wandering alone outside anymore. The girl bit her lower lip tightly. It seemed she had recalled something terrifying, and her whole body began to tremble. I'm Naomi. And this is my sister, Natalia. We used to be in a small base. Our base leader was a 5th rank ability user. Some time ago, the number of zombies in the west suddenly increased, and many ability users sent out from the base died. He thought my sister was dead too and snuck into my room at night. She closed her eyes in pain, but couldn't stop the tears from flowing. Half a month passed, and no one came back. The supplies in the base weren't enough, he said. I had to make a sacrifice for everyone. She didn't finish, but we all understood what she meant. But I went back, even though I was the only one left. I made it back alive. I killed that bastard and couldn't care less about those sycophants in the base. I'd heard about Luoqing base a long time ago. I heard that the base leader here is a woman who has taken in many women. They won't bully us. Natalia opened her eyes. The quick-acting recovery medicine I had brought was already taking effect, the wound on her abdomen was visibly healing, and she now had the strength to speak. Her eyes were filled with hatred. I worked day and night on missions so that Naomi could get better treatment in the base. How dare he? How dare they treat her like that? I was too weak and came back too late, which is why Naomi had to go through that suffering. Sis, it's not your fault. I'm okay. It's like getting bitten by a dog. In the apocalypse, I don't care about such things. Naomi smiled through her tears, trying to comfort Natalia. The atmosphere grew heavy, and neither Mabel nor I spoke. In this apocalypse where there were no rules or order, strength was the only way to have a say. However, due to their innate physical differences, women had a much higher failure rate during the evolution process compared to men. To survive, some people had no choice but to endure and submit. I was one of the lucky ones who awakened my abilities early. Even arrogant fools like Jackson, despite looking down on women, didn't dare to do anything out of line to me because my strength would teach them a lesson. 8. Since we were all heading to the same place, our group of 2 had now become 4. Sitting in the passenger seat, Mabel chattered non-stop about Luoqing base. Her eyes sparkled even more brightly when she talked about the base leader. Our base leader is definitely the most amazing person I've ever met. Then, remembering me, she quickly added, one of the most amazing. I smiled. I've heard of her, a rare healing type ability user. I sincerely praised. She's very impressive. The closer we got to the base, the fewer zombies there were. It seemed that the ability users of Luoqing base often came out to clear the surrounding zombies. We had a smooth journey. Mabel, you're finally back. Why did you take so long this time? I thought you were dead. As soon as Mabel got out of the car, a crowd of people swarmed around her. The variety of beautiful women was almost blinding. With great difficulty, Mabel managed to break free. After settling down Naomi and Natalia, she led me towards the base leader's office. Normally, registration doesn't require disturbing the base leader, but your situation is special. Sister Catherine, with you here, you'll basically be our base's top fighter. Behind a simple desk sat a seemingly harmless woman. Her black hair reached her shoulders, and she had 2 charming dimples when she smiled. Mabel, you're back. Her gentle gaze landed on me, and a complex expression flashed across her face before she smiled warmly at me. Hello, I'm Madeline. Hello, I'm Catherine. I've heard a lot about you. At first, I thought it was just a polite remark. It wasn't until after the apocalypse ended that I learned she had meant it sincerely. Base leader. Do you know, I worked so hard to recruit Sister Catherine. She's a 10th rank ability user. Mabel stood with her hands on her hips, waiting to see the surprise on Madeline's face. However, Madeline just smiled. Why do you think I sent you to gather information there? Do you think I'm a base leader for nothing? This was the speed at which large bases gathered information. We're glad you chose to join us. Although it's not very polite to say this. Your arrival has indeed solved an urgent problem for us. There's a mission that requires you to lead a team. Madeline detailed the entire situation to me. A reconnaissance team from Luoqing had discovered a batch of supplies in a shopping mall in the city center of the neighboring city, but the area was occupied by an 8th rank zombie, and an ordinary team couldn't possibly complete the mission. Luoqing base had sent their almost top-tier combat force, a 9th rank ability user leading 3 8th rank ability users to the neighboring city, but the information was wrong. The zombie had actually been on the verge of breaking through to the 9th rank and achieved the breakthrough during the battle, severely wounding the team leader. This is a third of our base's top-tier strength. Their safety is of utmost importance to us. If you can handle this, we won't need to ask other bases for help. Defeating this 9th rank zombie might even help our base produce another 10th rank powerhouse. Please, Catherine. Madeline's expression was grave. If I hadn't come, she had planned to coordinate with other bases to go together. The crystal core of a 9th rank zombie was extremely valuable. If they could handle it themselves, they wouldn't have to share the rewards with other bases. But as a healing type ability user, even though she was also a 10th rank ability user, she wasn't confident enough to face a zombie that had just broken through to the 9th rank. No problem, leave it to me. 9. I had planned to go alone, but I looked at Mabel and Natalia, who were trailing closely behind me, feeling a bit helpless. I won't have time to protect you. We don't need your protection. You deal with the 9th rank zombie, and we'll stay out of the way, Mabel assured me, patting her chest. I turned to Natalia. Mabel is at least a 7th rank ability user. You're only 5th rank. You could easily die. I'm not afraid of death. I just want to get stronger. Natalia's eyes were determined, showing no fear of death. Before we set off, Madeline sent another healing type ability user. Take Ian with you. First, stabilize the team leader's injuries. The situation of the elite team wasn't good. The zombie horde surrounded the entire shopping mall in layers. There was only static on the walkie-talkie, and we couldn't find the people we were supposed to rescue. Frowning at the twisted and strange zombies in front of me, I said, "Let's go, Mabel." After a round of attacks filled with lightning, thunder, and flames, a path paved with zombie remains was blasted open in the horde. Natalia used her control ability to block the zombies with obstacles, and the four of us charged deep into the zombie horde. Once we entered the shopping mall, the number of zombies decreased significantly, but everyone's expressions grew more solemn. Where there's smoke, there's fire. This kind of situation only occurred near the lair of a high-rank zombie. It wasn't that there were no zombies, they just didn't dare to approach. Is anyone there? If you receive this, please respond. Mabel started searching for them with the walkie-talkie. Screech, screech. Hello, is anyone there? The voices on the walkie-talkie were a bit fuzzy, perhaps due to the distance, but there were definitely people speaking. I gestured for Mabel to keep going. Hello, hello, is this the rescue team sent by the base? It's me, Mabel. Where are you, Mabel? Why are you here? Go back quickly, you can't handle it. Don't worry, Vice Captain, I brought a 10th rank ability user with me. Where are you? We're in the power distribution room on the basement floor. I didn't know why the power distribution room wasn't only occupied by the elite team but also by Hunter and the others. Laurel was actually among the team members. I resisted the urge to crack open their heads to see if they still had their brains intact. Why would they bring an ordinary person to the lair of a 9th rank zombie? Jackson had a large tear-shaped wound on his shoulder, and cold sweat was beading on his forehead. As soon as he saw me, he sneered sarcastically. "Catherine, what are you doing here? Did you crawl back to the base with your tail between your legs but couldn't find Brother Sue, so you came here instead? You're so infatuated. Why act so tough back then if you're like this now?" The members of the elite team looked at Hunter and the others in confusion. "These are the people sent by the base to rescue us." Pfft, her coming to rescue us? She's only an 8th rank ability user. Her combat power is even weaker than Brother Sue's. How can she rescue us? The vice captain, holding the unconscious captain, shot a look at Mabel. "Didn't you say there was a 10th rank ability user?" "Yes, Sister Catherine is a 10th rank ability user. Don't listen to those idiots. Come to think of it, I should thank these blind fools. If it weren't for them, I wouldn't have been able to recruit Sister Catherine," Mabel said. At this moment, Mabel certainly wouldn't hide my strength anymore. She wished the whole world knew that she had recruited a 10th rank ability user for the base. 10. Jackson glanced at Hunter, who remained silent, and then laughed. "To join a large base, you really dare to lie about anything. Catherine, let me tell you, she's definitely not a 10th rank ability user. She was only 8th rank 3 months ago. There's no way she could have broken through to the 10th rank all of a sudden. You've all been deceived by your base leader. Damn. Women are so easy to fool, sending someone like her to rescue us. What a joke." Laurel chimed in meekly at this moment. "Jackson is right. Sister Catherine herself said a few days ago that her breakthrough attempt failed. Why pretend to be a 10th rank ability user? You'll get everyone killed here." Slap, slap. Natalia suddenly moved, teleporting next to Jackson and Laurel and slapping each of them. She gave them a cold glance and said indifferently, "First of all, we're not here to save you. Your lives have nothing to do with us. Secondly, your mouths stink. Shut up." Hunter retracted his gaze from me with a complicated expression. Anger was hidden in his eyes, and energy surged around him as if he was about to attack Natalia in the next second. "Hunter, you know what will happen if you lay a hand on my people." I released my energy and fixed my gaze on Hunter. The powerful oppressive force made his whole body stiffen. I've always been protective of those close to me and never allowed others to bully them. In the past, the people I protected were them, but now, they've been pushed into the category of outsiders. Although the captain of the elite team had been given medicine immediately, she remained unconscious. I didn't have time for verbal sparring with them. A low growl of a zombie came from a distance, and the people in the room suddenly looked dazed. I frowned and looked outside, resisting the mental intrusion of the zombie, and shouted, "Wake up." A zombie that had broken through to the 9th rank had awakened mental attack abilities. People were more vulnerable mentally when they had lost a lot of blood. I looked at Mabel. "Later, you lead everyone away first. I'll hold it off." Mabel nodded and helped support the captain from the other side, stepping out of the power distribution room. A tall zombie appeared at the end of the dimly lit corridor. The crooked safety sign still glowed green, casting an eerie light in the darkness. A strong stench of decay and blood overwhelmed. I instinctively covered my mouth and nose. "Leave from the opposite direction. Catherine, besides this high-rank zombie in the mall, there's also a 7th rank zombie. You must be careful." The vice captain's concern in his eyes seemed genuine. In contrast, The way Jackson and the others ran off in the opposite direction without looking back made me sigh at what ungrateful wretches I had protected before. Calling them beasts would be an insult to real beasts. I smiled and nodded. Don't worry, you go out first and let Ian treat your injuries. The combat power of a 9th rank zombie was no joke. Its strength sent me staggering backward. Only after sensing that everyone's aura had disappeared from the mall did I coolly lock my gaze on the zombie. You hurt me just now, and I'm a little angry. Finally, I could unleash my abilities without restraint. In an instant, the sky darkened. A thick bolt of lightning as wide as a bull pierced through the mall from the overcast sky. Looking at the rolling thunderclouds outside, a look of fear actually appeared on the disfigured face of the zombie in front of me. 11 high-rank zombies also had intelligence. It turned to run but was blocked by a bolt of lightning. Where do you think you're going? I'm not done yet. Weren't you trying to devour our 9th rank human powerhouse earlier? Roar. With nowhere to escape, it let out a low growl, and its already tall body instantly doubled in size. Although its body had grown larger, its movements remained swift. In the blink of an eye, it grabbed me tightly in its palm. The force was so great that it seemed as if it would crush all my internal organs. Is this all you've got? I looked at the rotting, oversized head in front of me with dissatisfaction. It's so disgusting. Let's end this quickly. Purple lightning accumulated around me, making anyone who looked at it shudder. With a loud boom, the giant zombie's right hand was blown to pieces and scattered all over the ground. As its body fell, I lightly stepped on the ground and climbed up along the remaining half of the giant zombie's arm. It swung its body wildly, trying to shake me off. It knew that if I got the chance to shatter its head, it would surely die. I was as agile as a monkey, dodging its attacks left and right and running all the way towards the back of its head. The lightning in the sky had now fully accumulated. Responding to my command, a bolt of lightning struck down hard at my position. Dark brown zombie flesh and blood with a strong stench splattered all over me. I closed my eyes in disgust. It's so disgusting. I feel like dying. I reached out and grabbed the dazzling crystal core exposed inside the zombie's body. For me, a 9th rank zombie crystal core was no longer of much use, but taking it back to the base could help another person in the base break through to become a 10th rank ability user. Stop waiting. Let's go. What if she dies and the zombie chases after us? This was Jackson's voice. Natalia said, if you want to leave, go by yourselves. Laurel pleaded, you can't be so selfish. Our car is broken. You can't just watch us die. I walked out of the mall covered in blood and stared coldly at them. Sister Catherine, seeing me appear, the worry on Mabel's face disappeared instantly. She rushed over joyfully and examined me carefully. Are you hurt? I said gently. I'm fine. This blood is from the zombie. Fortunately, the spatial ability user of the elite team carried some spare clothes with them after changing in the car. I took Ian and another spatial ability user from the team to the mall to collect supplies. As I led the two of them inside, Leah suddenly said, Brother Sue, we should have a share of these supplies, right? Yeah, we also killed a lot of zombies. Laurel chimed in weakly, reaching out to tug at Hunter's sleeve. Mabel gasped in disbelief. Have you no shame? You did nothing but run for your lives, and now you have the nerve to ask for a share. Hunter didn't answer this question. Instead, he looked at me. Catherine, is the crystal core of that 9th rank zombie in your hands? There was blatant longing in his eyes. The difference between the 10th rank and the 9th rank was like the gap between heaven and earth. I glanced at him but remained silent. Catherine, I was wrong before. I was just playing around with Laurel. How could I really like her? How can an ordinary person without abilities compare to you? Catherine, come back. I promise you'll be the only one for me from now on. 12. Laurel tried her best to maintain her expression, but the look in her eyes still betrayed her inner resentment. Fed up with their disgusting behavior, I finally couldn't hold back and spoke. Your face is really thicker than that of an old sow. What makes you think I'd give you this 9th rank crystal core? Do you have your eye on it? I took out the glowing crystal core from my pocket, ignoring their covetous stares. I went through hell and high water to get this crystal core, but even if I were to throw it to a dog on the street, I wouldn't give it to you. Hunter, what makes you think that a 10th rank ability user like me would be interested in a mere 9th rank like you? Could you have killed this 9th rank zombie so easily if Brother Sue hadn't injured it first? I didn't expect Laurel to still defend Hunter at this point. She was going all out to cling to Hunter. By injured, do you mean those barely noticeable wounds on the zombie that were almost healed? Your brother Sue ran away after just one move against the zombie, leaving our captain to fight alone. If it weren't for you people, our captain wouldn't have been so seriously injured, and now you're asking our rescue team for things. I spit on you. The vice captain had now figured out the situation and didn't hold back when speaking to the people from the Tongxing base. The sky, which had just cleared up, was now covered by another dark thundercloud. Lightning coiled within the cloud like a giant snake, appearing and disappearing. If you want the supplies, sure, cross this thundercloud, and you can take whatever you want, I said calmly, enveloping the entire mall with the imposing thundercloud. Catherine, are you just going to let us die? The base has no supplies left. Do you want everyone to starve to death because of you? Seeing that she couldn't get the supplies, Leah started to angrily throw baseless accusations at me. Is it my fault that there are no supplies? Don't you know how you squandered resources during the months I was away? If you have nothing to eat, go pick up the food you threw away from the trash. After saying this, I walked away without looking back and, with the help of the spatial ability user, carried a lot of supplies. I also took care of the remaining zombies with crystal cores. After leaving the mall, the captain of the elite team had woken up under Ian's treatment. Her lips were pale, and she looked extremely weak due to blood loss, but she still thanked me politely. Thank you for saving us. It's okay, we're comrades. Get some rest. We're going back to the base now. I soothed her softly. She nodded and closed her eyes again. Only then did I take out the crystal core I had just obtained from my pocket and hand it to Mabel. This is a 7th rank crystal core. If you need help breaking through, I can guard you. How can I accept this? You got it. Mabel waved her hands, insisting that I exchange the crystal core for points at the base. I have a 9th rank crystal core. Do you think I'll be short of points? I took out a pile of crystal cores from my bag. Natalia, come and take a 5th rank one too. Jackson and Leah eyed the crystal cores in my hands greedily. After all, we also killed a lot of zombies. We should get a share too, right? Being repeatedly bothered by these pests, I felt extremely irritated. Before anyone could react, I suddenly kicked Jackson 10 meters away. He crashed hard into the wall. Do I have too good a temper, or have I given you too much leeway, that you keep provoking me? 13. Jackson looked at me in shock, blood trickling from the corner of his mouth. Catherine, when he saw my impatient expression, he quickly shut up. For all those years, I had always been the protector. No matter how disdainful or disrespectful they were towards me, I always stood in front of them, because I considered them my comrades. I always believed that we would support each other in this unpredictable apocalypse, but reality had taught me that I was wrong. Not everyone deserved my kindness. I didn't hold back with that kick. I had likely broken at least 3 of Jackson's ribs. Leah didn't dare to make a sound and cowered behind Hunter. If you're okay, then leave on your own, I said coldly. Glancing at Hunter before getting into the car, I didn't have any intention of taking revenge on them, but I definitely wouldn't be so kind as to help them out again. I had already cut this cancer out of my future plans. After bringing the elite team back to the base, my reputation soared. Wherever I went, people would call me Sister Catherine. Mabel was right. This was indeed a great place. The people here were positive and motivated. Those with abilities went out to fight, while those without took care of all the logistics work. Everyone was working hard to survive, so I handed the crystal cores to the base leader and let her decide who should use them for breakthroughs. One evening 3 months later, Naomi knocked on my door. In the 3 months since I last saw her, the little girl had gained some weight. Her smiling face showed no signs of the hardship she had endured. Some girls may seem delicate on the outside, but they have an inner strength stronger than anyone else's. She took out a 1st-rank crystal core from her pocket. Sister Catherine, I exchanged 3 months' worth of accumulated points for this. I want you to help me evolve. I was taken aback and blurted out, why don't you ask your sister? Naomi shook her head. Sister wouldn't agree. She keeps going on missions just so I can live a better life, every time. I can only wait at home. I don't want to feel that anxiety anymore. She clenched the crystal core in her hand. I want to fight by her side. The girl in front of me had a look in her eyes that was very similar to her sister's, full of vitality. Evolution failure can be fatal. Do you understand? Naomi smiled. I know, but every day in the base, there are sisters attempting evolution. The evolution potions developed by the base's laboratory can greatly increase the success rate. I want to give it a try, even if there's a risk of death. I'm not afraid. I don't want my sister to work so hard for me. The development speed of the large base is incomparable to the place where I used to stay. They have even developed a potion that can help humans evolve. Although it can't guarantee a 100% success rate of evolution, it has helped many women who want to become stronger succeed in evolving. I was silent for a long time and finally gave in to her shining eyes. If I turn into a zombie, Sister Catherine, don't hold back. I've left a letter for my sister, and she won't blame you. Naomi's eyes were a bit moist. I understood the fear and reluctance in her heart and admired her determination. I will do my best to help you. She nodded, swallowed the crystal core, and drank the evolution potion. In a short while, her body became hot, and her face turned red. When Natalia knocked on my door in a panic, Naomi was still in a sweet dream. Sister Catherine, Sister Catherine. What about my sister? Seeing the smile on my face, Natalia calmed down. Natalia, Your sister is as brave as you. I casually brushed off the dangerous situation of Naomi's evolution. She has successfully evolved and has a very precious healing ability. 14. Natalia, who usually has a cold face, burst into tears at this moment. When I came back and saw the letter she left, my heart almost stopped. If Naomi died too, I don't know if I could still live. She covered her face and cried softly, and tears fell through her fingers. Somehow, I felt a bit envious. My relatives died at the beginning of the apocalypse, and my evolution was thanks to them. My hesitation and reluctance made my mother, who had turned into a zombie, bite my neck. If my relatives were still alive, I would be as desperate as Natalia. Okay, stop crying. It's a happy thing. Take Naomi back quickly. She's exhausted. Since Naomi successfully evolved, she has taken Ian's place in the team. When we go on a mission, Naomi sits in the car and communicates with us via the walkie-talkie. Occasionally, when we're not on a mission, Naomi also follows other teams on missions. After all, a healing ability user is a highly sought-after and precious resource in the whole base. Natalia, there's a good chance your sister is a genius. Mabel looked at Naomi, who had broken through to the 5th rank, and marveled. Thank you, sisters, for the crystal cores you got for me. Naomi smiled sweetly and poured Mabel a cup of hot tea. Come on, don't be modest, even with crystal cores. Not everyone can successfully break through. You're the one who's amazing. Mabel tapped Naomi on the nose, and the two of them laughed together. With a smile on her lips, Natalia looked out the window worriedly. It's been winter from start to finish this year, and the zombies are becoming more and more active. I heard that many small bases have been breached by zombies. We've also taken in a lot of people who fled from outside. What on earth is going on? I was silent. And I felt a bit uneasy when I remembered the conversation Madeline had with me privately before. According to the news from other bases, a 10th rank zombie was found on both the north and south sides. They were driving the zombies towards the major bases. It seemed that they wanted to wipe out humanity. Although I don't want to admit it, humans of the same rank are no match for zombies. They are born without pain, which already gives them an advantage, not to mention the zombies' inexhaustible abilities and their natural strength. The 10th rank ability users of the central base of the country all went out, but they still couldn't defeat the zombies, so some time ago, the central base sent an invitation to Luoqing base, inviting Madeline and me to go for support. This is a matter of human survival, and we can't refuse. Madeline has agreed, but the affairs of Luoqing base need to be handed over clearly, so we haven't left yet. I didn't tell Mabel and the others because I was afraid they would be. The 10th rank zombies are not something they need to worry about. We will bear the responsibility. 15. Madeline finally gave the 9th rank crystal core from last time to the captain of the elite team. She also handed over all the affairs of Luoqing base to her and appointed her as the acting base leader. If we don't come back, please protect everyone in the base. She bowed solemnly and handed the seal representing the base leader to the team captain. Just as Madeline and I hadn't driven a kilometer, we met a large motorcade head-on. Dozens of modified cars were driving straight towards Luoyang base. Catherine, let's go back. Madeline's expression was serious, without saying a word. I turned the car around and followed the cars back. Luoqing base had long built solid protective measures over the years, and the tall wall blocked the motorcade outside. The man standing under the gate looked unruly and shouted frivolously, "Hey, ladies, our base was destroyed by zombies. We heard that the beautiful women in Luoqing base are kind-hearted. We drove for a whole day and night. Please take us in." The acting base leader stood on the wall and said cautiously, "We have already taken in a lot of people in Luoqing base, and there are no extra supplies to distribute now. I'm really sorry, but please go back. You don't have ordinary companions in your base." "Yes, but they're all dead. Do you think we should take those useless people with us when we're fleeing?" The people in the car got out one after another, and they were almost all men. Some of them were holding one or two pretty women in their arms. The acting base leader's face darkened, and her voice turned cold. "Since you still have so much combat power, why did you abandon them?" The man downstairs looked as if it was only natural. "Otherwise, what should we do? Should we fight for those lowly slaves in the base? We can just take in some people as free labor later." The acting base leader was very angry and said through gritted teeth, "People with different paths don't work together. Please leave. We can't take you in." "Hey, you bitch, I'm talking to you nicely." "But you're pushing your luck, aren't you?" The man spat angrily. "Jeremy, these bitches won't listen. You have to take action yourself." He said this respectfully to the person in the front car, bowing and scraping like a lackey. The person who got out of the car had a fierce expression. His well-developed muscles and the occasional imposing manner proved that he wasn't someone to be trifled with. "Get down and open the door for me," Madeline said softly. This person is the base leader of Jeremy's base, and he's also a 10th rank ability user. He must have heard the news that we're leaving Luoqing for the central base, so he came at this time. He thought that there was no one in Luoqing base who could rival him. Just then, another person got out of the car and clung to Jeremy like a boneless person. Jeremy, just blast the door open. I'm tired from sitting in the car for so long. It was Laurel. Jeremy's thick right hand groped Laurel's buttocks. Are you tired from sitting in the car or from sitting on me? 16. Laurel gently punched Jeremy coquettishly. Laurel appeared here, so where were Hunter and the others? I searched the crowd but didn't find their shadows. At this time, Jeremy had listened to Laurel. His hands gradually turned black, as if they were forged from metal. He stepped closer to the gate. Catherine, let's get out of the car. Madeline quickly opened the car door and in a flash, she was at the gate. Jeremy, try taking one more step forward. Madeline had been gentle with everyone in the past few months, but now, with a cold face, the majesty of the base leader finally showed. Jeremy looked at Madeline and me, who suddenly appeared and stopped in his tracks. Base leader Madeline, why are you still here? If I wasn't here, would my Luoqing base have become yours, Jeremy? You didn't follow the national arrangement and didn't go to the front line for support. Is this why you're attacking my base? Very well, I'll reply to the central base now. Someone is trying to take advantage of the situation, so I can't go to the front line. Hearing that Madeline was going to report to the central base, Jeremy's face changed. If they really angered the central base, no one would end well. Don't, base leader Madeline. Please don't. We were just asking if you can't take us in. We'll leave now, just asking. Who called my acting base leader a bitch just now? Get out here, Madeline shouted sharply, and the man who had been spouting insults turned pale with fear. Jeremy kicked him out, looked at Madeline and then at me with a bad expression. Hurry up and come out to apologize. Madeline stepped forward and slapped him twice. Do you think we women are easy to bully? You're just a dog relying on its master. You're only a 7th rank ability user. But you dare to bark at our 9th rank ability users. What gives you the right? Is it that tiny thing between your legs? Laurel looked at Jeremy in shock. Jeremy, why are you afraid of them? They're just 2 women. Jeremy's face darkened, and he slapped her in the face. What the hell do you know? Does it matter if they're men or women when it comes to abilities? With the support of a 10th rank healing ability user, how can I beat the 2 of them? As Jeremy said. With a high-rank healing ability user as a companion on the battlefield, I can unleash 120% of my strength. This is why healing abilities are so precious. The situation had been exposed, and Jeremy was about to leave with his people. Madeline raised her hand and said leisurely, wait a minute, I like the girls in your base. I want them to stay and keep us company. I wonder if base leader Jeremy is willing to part with them. The thunderclouds in the sky were surging, and Jeremy's fleshy face twitched. Of course, but it depends on their own will. Is there anyone who wants to join our Luoqing base? Women won't bully women. Madeline returned to her usual gentleness. At first, some people hesitated, but when they looked up at the girls on the wall peeking at them, they suddenly burst into tears. Me, I want to join. I'm willing to. Some people broke free from the iron arms of the men beside them and ran towards Madeline and me. Only Laurel and 2 or 3 other women still clung tightly to the men's arms. There's no point in trying to save those who don't want to save themselves. 17. Sister Catherine, save me. A sudden cry for help came from the end of the motorcade. I frowned and slowly walked towards the car at the end of the motorcade and knocked on the car window. The car window slowly rolled down, and Leah, whose clothes were in disarray, was sitting inside, along with Hunter and Jackson, who seemed to be knocked unconscious. Leah was in tears. Sister Catherine, I was wrong. I know I was wrong. Save me. After our base was overwhelmed by the zombie horde, we went to seek refuge in Jeremy's base, but that bitch Laurel actually tried to encourage these bastards to defile me. Hunter and Jackson were knocked out while trying to save me. I'm sorry for you, Sister Catherine. Please, save me. Leah's hands were tied, and she desperately banged her head against the car window. Let them down. Jeremy sensed my displeasure and quickly ordered someone to open the car door and untie them. After Madeline used her ability to wake up Hunter and Jackson, she said to me, I can take them in for your sake. After all, there are still some men in the base. Jackson pounced at my feet in a panic. Sister Catherine, I was wrong. I'm not human. I'm worse than a pig or a dog. Take me in. I finally understand your good intentions. It was all our fault before. Please forgive us, Sister Catherine. Hunter sat on the ground dejectedly and said nothing. As a 9th rank powerhouse, he probably didn't understand why he had ended up in this situation. I'll save you because I still have a conscience. You, as ability users, can find refuge in other bases no matter what. I won't take you in. I mercilessly refused their request. Hunter smiled bitterly. Catherine, I seem to have made a huge mistake. Is there still a chance for us? I shook my head and said seriously, we're on different paths. Since he looked down on me because my strength was not as good as his, our souls could no longer resonate. To soothe everyone's emotions, Madeline and I had to stay in the base for another half a month. Madeline still sent a letter to the central base, asking the central base to ensure the safety of Luoqing base while we were on our way to the front line. We left in the middle of the night, and we didn't want everyone to see us off. However, just 100 meters out, a circle of fireworks ignited on the tall wall. From a distance, it looked like a fire dragon coiled there. Mabel waved a bright national flag in her hand, and we saw many people waving goodbye to us. The voices of women came together, forming a powerful force that resounded through the sky and earth. Come on, Luoqing base, we lost 2 of our brothers just for this batch of supplies. The battle between humans and zombies, the perfect people, lasted for 5 years. After Madeline handed over the potions developed by the base to the central base, a steady stream of fresh blood joined us. In the autumn of the 9th year of the apocalypse, Mabel, a 10th rank ability user, reported to the central base from Luoqing base. In the winter of the 11th year of the apocalypse, Natalia, a 10th rank ability user, reported to the central base. In the spring of the 12th year of the apocalypse, Naomi, a 10th rank healing powerhouse, reported to the central base. In the 14th year of the apocalypse, under the siege of nearly 20 10th rank powerhouses, we finally defeated the 2 10th rank zombies one by one. Thus, the first heaven rank powerhouse in the world was born. In the 17th year of the apocalypse, the laboratory of the central base upgraded the potion formula, increasing the evolution success rate to 80%. Almost achieving universal evolution. In the 20th year of the apocalypse, the central base shared the formula with countries around the world and launched the battle for human revival. After the central instrument detected that the last zombie in the world had been eliminated, the apocalypse that had lasted for 22 years finally ended. Humans entered a new era, the end.